Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast, presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I am one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We have Brooklyn's beloved DJ Goldfinger.
What up, what up?
Big shout out to our boy Never Forever,
Never
rest
forever.
in peace.
Yes, sir.
We have invaded the Sound Collective studios here in New York. And today's episode is a vinyl lovers episode. You know, we're taking it to a venue, Record Room in Long Island City, Queens. It's an intimate, all vinyl listening lounge, you know, tucked with like this jazz club feel, house party energy. And it's one of my favorite venues. And I got put onto this venue this year. It's been around since 2023. But because these four individuals that I have here today, it's brought an unexplainable like New York aura into this city, into the nightlife that I haven't felt in a long time. Would you agree, Goldfinger?
I definitely do.
So on Tuesdays at Rec Room, there's a party, Suede. It's an all vinyl R&B soul party where the focus is letting the records breathe, playing through the bridge, letting true R&B heads and music lovers belt out their favorite ballads at the top of their lungs for all three verses and the bridge. And I'd like to welcome the founders of Suede Tuesdays since 2021, Moochie and Svpply. Thank you for coming, y'all.
Hey.
And then on Thursdays at Record Room, we got the early check-in party. And it's another all vinyl party, but it touches on classics, R&B, and hip hop. But it's a different energy. And it truly embodies to me a New York club experience in the late 90s and 2000s. It's, you know, from the arc of the party starting with classics to like danceable 90s R&B, working its way to kind of like, you know, high energy hip hop. Even the way it's mixed. It's like a quick mixing, wordplay, kind of like song to song, dropping on the one style of New York DJing on vinyl that I haven't heard since the 2000s. And I would say it's a flex because there's only a handful of DJs who could still do this on vinyl. And it's celebrating this like kind of style of New York DJing that hasn't been kind of like displayed and showcased in a long time. And I want to welcome the founders of Early Check-In, Karl Brisseaux and the infamous
Karl Beanie Man.
Snips.
Yes.
The man, white guy in the Carhartt beanie, DJ Snips.
DJ
What's
Snips,
good?
What up?
What's good, fellas? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate y'all coming through. And
Appreciate you having us, man.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
So the reason why I have both of y'all here is because I got put on. I was talking to MoMA, DJ MoMA from Everyday People. Mm-hmm. He was like, bro, you know, the homie Snips. He's like, you got to go to his Thursday vinyl party. Early check-in. I went there and I felt like I was in a time warp. This is like me going to a club in the 90s and 2000s, except the crowd is all young. They're all in their 20s, early 30s. I'm seeing women buying bottles, reserving tables. It's like unheard of. And, you know, I was there and I'm just listening. I'm hearing like the Slum Remy remix of Sweetest Thing, Lauryn Hill. I'm hearing, you know, Christian with Jay-Z. I'm hearing all these remixes and versions, like B-sides I've never heard from all these 90s R&B. And then the energy just kind of picks up and it just starts hitting. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing, you know, Snips, you're masterfully just dropping like a Little Kim set, you know?
Yeah.
From Crush on You into Benjamin's. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like
Benjamin's from Little Kim's verse, by the way. Yeah.
It's an important distinction to make.
Just to make that distinction, we cut it in later in the record.
That's correct. That's a fact.
And the thing is, like, I
Roman with the B, huh?
Crazy kids.
and I trooped all the way to Long Island City in Queens. This is unheard of. You know, I'm a Manhattan kid. You know, I grew up uptown. For me to go to Queens for a party, that shit has to be outstanding.
Bro,
And-
for me to go to Queens to DJ a party, like
Exactly. It's unheard of. And then I was talking with Showcase. He's like, yo, if you love that party, fam, you got to go Tuesdays. Tuesdays Suede with Svpply and Moochie. Those motherfuckers do something different. And I told Goldie, I'm like, yo, let's go to this Tuesday party. Went to this Tuesday party, and it was impressive.
Yeah.
I'm hearing like slow jams I've never heard, like being sung from beginning to end. Everyone, it's just I can't explain it. You know, the age group, the crowd, it's a beautiful crowd. It's young. There's a young crowd. The energy is amazing. You guys are playing Dangerously in Love, Beyonce, from beginning to end, which I've never heard in a fucking club, you know, from beginning to end. And I was just all the women in the room singing this shit at the top of their lungs. The key word for this episode to me is like, there's this intention. You know, like I feel like you guys are bringing a new era of DJing, of intentional DJs. After seeing, you know, both of y'all parties, it really made me think about where DJing is and why does this work? Like Moochie and Svpply, why does playing a whole song work in this era of like, you know, short attention span, you know, Gen Z, you know, crowds that, you know, it shouldn't work. It shouldn't translate, but it does.
Oh, it's because of the bridge, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the bridge is the best part, which I feel like club DJs kind of understand in the digital era, too, because you just have the cue point at the bridge. But you can get to it the other way, the long way, and then the payoff is kind of bigger, too. If you're playing the whole track out and then the bridge hits, it hits even harder. And I think that's why. I think that's what allows it to start to work, especially with this older music where it all has a bridge. It's that part. That's what makes it. And the outro sometimes. Like the ad-libs on the outro. Like everyone knows.
But what were you noticing? Because there's so many R&B parties. There's so many parties that play throwbacks. Why does this work? What is it about vinyl that creates this like barrier of trust between the crowd and the DJ?
When people watch someone like playing with records, I think there's just an element of expertise that they don't see normally because they're just used to someone just staring at their laptop or, you know, at CDJs. And I think watching people play records is just, there's like a tangibility aspect. And, you know, you can teach a monkey how to DJ with, you know, Serato. Like literally just click the button, put sync on. But like you can't, if you want to play records, you have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to be an expert at it and to rock a party. And I like to think that whether people are conscious or subconscious of that, that's probably the main factor.
Can I take a more cynical view?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think we're in I don't think people think about that all that much, the like skill or intention that goes behind it. I kind of think the way it initially works is because we're in the era of the DJ as like performer and like on the center stage, lights on the DJ, like that's the focus. And it's really boring to watch a DJ play on Serato. There's nothing happening. You're just touching buttons. But there's a show happening when someone's playing on vinyl. There's things they're sorting through records. They're like putting a record in a sleeve. They're picking through. It's like last minute, I got to throw this one on.
Their headphones.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
like
of physicality to it.
But
it creates a show.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying as well is very much aesthetic, right? Rather than actually understanding the craftsmanship. Because and we've talked about this before, where there's times where I've just dropped a record in that people like and they lose their shit. Oh my God, that transitions. That wasn't I just played the record. But then there's other times where I'm like, I've done some crazy blend. I've thrown an acapella over something, then I've pulled it out and put something else, like something that if you're a DJ, you're like, yo, shit, that was incredible. And people are just like, it's cool. I don't know these two songs. Like, you know, like, so there isn't really an appreciation, I don't think, for this idea of what we're doing as being some kind of like upper echelon style of DJing. I think it's literally just like, I love these DJs. They play vinyls. Like that's it. Like it's just the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of curiosity too. So I'm not quite as cynical in that, but I do lean cynical on this. But I think sometimes people, they don't know what you're doing, right? You know, if you're 22 years old, you probably you're born for sure after the fact that your parents had like a record collection that they were playing, right? You're like deep in the CD era, into like the Napster era. So like the idea of somebody, you know, coming to record room, they might be the first time they're seeing somebody in person playing a record, let alone DJing.
That's a good point.
So I think a lot of times people are just like, what are you doing? Right? And then that alone is a little bit of a draw, you know, compared to like watching us play on Serato, especially those of us who, like myself, you know, when I'm playing, I'm just playing a party. I'm very much like blending things together, trying to keep it as smooth as possible versus like a turntablist, which I think is obviously impressive if you're watching somebody on Serato. But I think the curiosity, I think, is a big driver for a lot of people.
Yeah. So it really, you think it's really the curiosity of it all?
Yeah, for sure. Right. And I think, and then couple that with a party experience, like, oh, this is dope. And like, I don't really know what they're doing, but it's fire. Like, I think without fail, every Thursday, there's at least one person that comes up to the booth and it's like, I didn't realize you were not using a laptop.
Yeah.
Even though you can't see one,
Right.
you know, it's obviously not there. And then they're like, I didn't know this is how it worked. You know what I mean? And then let alone like at Record Room in particular, there's a rotary mixer. Most mixers are not like that in the club environment, right? So at least in like a mainstream club environment. So that adds like another level of curiosity if you know a little bit about DJing or if you've used a DJ controller before. So yeah, I think people are just curious more than anything.
The funniest thing too is when our DJ friends come
Yes.
and they're just standing there and they're just like, "The fuck do you do with that mixer?"
Yeah.
You know, or they're just like watching you like go through your records and shit. And it's always really cool when other DJs that, like I deeply respect who don't play records come up and they're like, "Yo, what you do is really rad." And I mean, I think anyone in any profession, you know, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a DJ or a musician, when you get people who are your peers who respect you because of what you do, that's a level of validation that only we understand.
100%.
I think something Karl said as well that I wanted to add on to when he just said, and we're also rocking a party. And I think that's something that both of us do at our events, which isn't necessarily seen so much with the recent wave of vinyl events, right? A lot of them are very much like listening bar, middle-aged guys, chin stroking, listening to jazz, you know, which I'm not knocking as a place for it, but like I feel like both of our parties, or just not even just necessarily our parties, but us as DJs, and a few others, I don't want to leave anyone out, but we've moved it into like, no, you're actually coming to an event, to a party. You're not just coming to watch DJs play records, you're coming to dance, you're coming to sing, you're coming to watch DJs actually get busy and create an atmosphere rather than just, I'm coming with a handful of records and I'm just going to play my favorite songs.
Right,
you know,
right.
which is what a lot of these initial vinyl events were when they first started. to
Isn't
pop
that how
back up.
Record Room started?
Kind of, yeah.
Actually,
You were there from the beginning.
Yeah, so I and shout out to homie Elijah. He wasn't DJing vinyl at the time, but he was like, I think he lives in the area, and like he was the first person that I had heard of that mentioned Record Room. And he posted it to his story. He's like, "Yo, like I know somebody that works here, and like they're looking for DJs." And I happened to be in the city that day, and I was like, you know what, I'll pop by. Like it opens right around the time I need to go home. Let me just pop in. And like they had somebody cancel the next night, and I DJ'd. It was great, but it was like a very different vibe. Like, so it was very much that listening environment.
It's what they call like a selector, like a selector party, right?
Yeah.
Right. Where DJs come in with their like, you know, bag of records.
Yeah.
There's no transitions.
No.
There's no energy.
No.
You're just listening to a DJ play songs.
A selector.
Yeah, selector. Basically select, not dancehall Jamaica reggae selector, but like just selecting records.
Yeah.
There's no judgment on like what you're playing or like what or how you're mixing, right?
Right.
I will say too, though, with that, there's definitely a skill to that too, because like you can easily be, you know, the benefit almost of like the style of DJing that we like to do at our party is, you know, you're always one record away, right? Like if something doesn't quite hit, you can easily get out of it. Whereas if you're playing 7 minutes of some jazz song that is not working, and you know like the party is such that you have to let that shit play,
right?
That's a problem, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think you know, some DJs wouldn't be able to get out of that. You know what I mean? But even I think what actually kind of helped the first set I did at Record Room was I still, even though I was doing like more of a listening kind of vibe, like I was still DJing, like mixing things together in the way that I normally would. I might play stuff a little longer. And there was kind of benefit of like being able to showcase a little bit more of my taste beyond the party.
Right. It's like a live playlist or mixtape.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
It was like kind of like what I would do on the radio versus what I would do at a party. Yeah. And then there was a little bit of, and then like month after month, it got busier and busier. It quickly shifted to like, this is not a listening bar, this is a party. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of the DJs on the rotation got left behind because of that, because they were still getting booked to do their regular sets, and they're turning up, and you got like a full room like ready to hear classic 90s R&B, and a lot of the DJs that were playing before were just kind of like, oh shit, this is not what we were used to doing you know, at this venue.
Yeah.
So that kind of shifted DJs that were on rotation there.
Yo, roadies and roadies for life. You already know that we rock heavy with DJ City. It's our go-to record pool to download the latest music, edits, and remixes for our DJ sets. So now, Road listeners can join DJ City for only $10.
$10?
Only $10. That's almost 70% off the first month. Make sure you scan the QR code or click the link in the description or go to djcity.com/offer/road to jump on this great deal.
There's a lot of vinyl DJs in the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vinyl DJs that probably are throwing parties and all across the all across every country.
Yeah.
Why is it that you're here, and why do you think I invited y'all here, and why do you think y'all stand out, and particularly in this era in 2025? Why does it stand out to you?
I feel like
What
we
y'all
probably
doing?
have different answers based on like
for
these
sure.
guys would probably have different answers on what we would.
I mean, let's Svpply and Moochie, right? Suede Tuesdays. I think what's great is back in the day in New York, there was an amazing Tuesday party at Suede. It was Suede Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
know this?
Yeah.
I hear, I've heard that tossed around, but I've always been curious. I don't actually know where
What
it
club
was,
was
what
it
it.
It was on 23rd or 14th.
23rd.
The club was called Suede. It was
Justin
on
Timberlake had some type of stock into it.
Word?
It was pretty hot.
Early 2000s?
Yeah.
early 2000s. Shout out to Annie Quinn. He was one of the residents there,
Wow.
and it was the party to go to on Tuesdays.
There was a lot of celebrity
Yeah.
types stuff.
One of the dudes from
We get a
NSYNC
couple
was
of those.
hosting it too. I forgot his name. The chunky one.
What are you talking about?
The chunky one from NSYNC.
Oh, Fatone.
Yeah, Joey Fatone. Yeah. So Joey Fatone, Joey Fatone from NSYNC.
Shout out to Joey.
Yeah, he used to host that shit. But yeah, like Justin Timberlake would show up. And I remember this is just when he dropped his album. And he'd be like...
Justified?
Yeah, Justified. And he'd be in there. I'd see Bruce Willis in there.
There'll be
That's
like
hilarious.
a lot
Yeah.
of like Saturday Night Live rap
Yeah,
parties
yeah.
and shit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tracy Morgan would be there. Like I remember seeing Justin Timberlake. His album just dropped, and he wanted to beatbox. And then he didn't want to be seen, so he was like facing the wall beatboxing just to beatbox. And we were just like, what the he's just facing the wall like beatboxing, and we were just like, what the fuck is going on?
Doing the beatbox from Crimea River.
Yeah. So and then we were just like, all right, but it was the party to go to. Annie Quinn was a fucking master. He just fucking owned that room. Wow. Yeah.
Who used to spin there?
It was Annie Quinn. I know there was probably another DJ and there was
Different
another
nights.
DJ after.
And they had different nights too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that Tuesday party was like legendary in the like 2000s, early 2000s for sure. But I think it's funny that you named your party Suede. But
Yeah,
maybe
unrelated.
Totally unrelated.
But,
Yeah.
but maybe you can explain, what is it, you guys started this shit in 2021. It didn't start at Record Room, right?
No, it started at Bunton's World Famous. Shout out to Buns. Shout out to Kareem.
Shout out to Kareem, man.
Which just recently closed. I think they're closed now. They had a couple last
Yeah.
nights, but I mean, it was a really great space. And what Kareem was so good at was like curating the right people from the community and giving people a shot when they were like dedicated and like new to it, but like he saw something in them. And I think Moochie pitched Tuesdays just as a day, like what else are you doing on this
year
day?
was
Like,
this?
2021.
yeah.
So this is the mid-COVID?
No, this is like just done with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not done, but you know what I
Right.
mean.
It's like
people
shit
just
started opening
like,
up.
yeah, like clubs were open until 4 a.m.
Maybe like half capacity or, yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah.
But yeah. And when we started the party, it was very like slow build, no money.
It was Tuesday
Like
night.
$100, $150 each.
Right.
In the summer it'd be mad popping. And then like in February when it's snowing, there may be like 20 people in there. And we just continued to do it because we love playing records.
All right, so the vinyl thing was happening already.
We were only playing records.
You were only playing records.
only
And
playing
even
records.
before it was a vinyl scene. That was
Yeah, we were only playing records.
Yeah, I mean, there were people. What was going on at the time? Like Eavesdrop
that was a
opened
little bit
around
later,
that,
but that's
that
different.
That was
That's different.
So different. I don't know. We didn't see that many vinyl parties at the time. I'm sure there was stuff going on, but we felt like that was like a niche or a spot that we could do, and we really believed in the concept. Like, especially back then, we were really hardcore on like let the songs play out, play the bridge, play the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the
Moochie
concept,
didn't even know how to transition yet.
Stop. Not true.
Also, these guys were really the first that were doing it with R&B, like in the vinyl world, because there was a vinyl scene at that point, but it was very much.
Well, it was like Mobile Mondays.
Well,
no,
I mean with the newer generation. Yeah, obviously, look, I'm not saying these guys were the first guys to ever play R&B vinyl. Of course not. But
we
Mobile
have
Mondays
a
was
rule on this podcast. No one says they were the first ever anything.
Okay.
Because someone's always going to be like, nah, that was another.
Yeah. But that was a poppin' all vinyl party, for a long time.
Yeah, no, and there's been countless. But I mean, from this generation getting into vinyl, at the time that these guys started, it was very much DJs only like really being into the house and disco stuff. That was the cool vinyl scene at the time, right? So I feel like nobody was really doing like R&B classics,
Which is
when
which
they
is
started.
like which is on brand with what everyone would think a vinyl party would be, right?
Right.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it would be disco,
Warm.
it would be classics,
Right.
It would be soul,
Yeah.
it would be breaks,
And not for nothing,
You know?
but a lot of that crowd kind of looked down on DJs that are playing R&B and hip hop.
right?
Right.
Like, and a lot of them were R&B and hip hop DJs that have moved into now only play,
Right.
and now they're making a little swing.
Yeah,
back
it's
to
kind of like
playing
if you're at a
R&B and
vinyl
hip-hop.
party, why would you play Yin Yang Twins or like a
that shit's
Sierra
so
record,
fun.
right?
But then
It's fun.
Because at the time it's like, well, just go listen to like a Serato DJ. Why would you come and listen?
see,
to it here,
I
you know?
agree, but also like, and I say this, probably only you guys would have had this experience, but when Yin Yang Twins came out, I was playing vinyl.
Yeah,
So like I did play Yin Yang Twins in vinyl sets because when they came out, I was still playing vinyl.
So just a continuation.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, it's nothing to bring back those old records and play them now,
I see both sides.
Right.
I see both sides to a point where it's like, why play a vinyl set with like, just like predictable 2000s hits.
Right.
And if you're going to play it the same way like you would on Serato or USB sticks, there is a part of me years ago that would have been like, what's the point? I don't.
But then what's the
entirely
point
get
in
it.
doing vinyl at all then? Because you
Right.
can do any of it on.
Right.
So I think that kind of moves us to the
Yeah.
conversation of the intention, right?
Right.
Like how
Yeah.
are you separating yourself, and why does this like format of vinyl differentiate the selection of music and how you're showcasing it? So there's so many fucking vinyl DJs, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And they're like, fucking Road podcast. Why do they have these two parties here? And that's kind
I'm
of
not
what
going to justify.
I'm not complaining.
No, you
Because our shit's lit. Like,
But I think that's the thing is like, it's like, how does it translate? Why does it translate to the youth? And I think we're like kind of talking about the curiosity aspect of
Yeah.
it. But are you still getting requests? Are people still requesting?
not
Sometimes.
less than most parties for me,
Yeah.
but I do think that there is like this thing that people get kind of like lulled into at these all vinyl events where it's like a patience, which we're very like instant gratification right now. And like club sets are mega mix, like super quick transitions, this song to that song, and I think people do sort of like, it's like this kind of meditative almost, like you have a little more patience. You can kind of sit with songs a little more if people are playing in that style. And then what can also happen is like you can see the party shift if you start like quick mixing. Like if you it's sometimes hard to come back from that. Like if you just start in the middle of a set where you're playing songs all the way out, doing like, all right, here's 3 songs real quick. The party blows up and then it's hard to get them back into that like slow chill moment.
and to Andrew's point, like that, and to you're saying like the sort of intention of it all is the music. It's about the music, and that's not to say that like quick mixing means that you don't like music. I mean, obviously we can do that if we want, and we do that digitally sometimes. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you let songs play for a long time, it lets people really love that fucking song. Like they love that fucking song, and they listen to it from the beginning until the end when they're in their car.
Right.
So why would they ever cut it off in the club?
Right.
Like,
And there's not that many songs like that now where like I think
there's 4
music
minutes
has been
of it.
spread out so much to where everyone has like their some music on their device. You don't really listen to radio. There's not as many songs that are like, I know this front to back, and so does every single other person in this room. And that's these records.
Right.
This like era of records for a certain generation are the records they know front to back all the way.
Well, yeah, I feel like even R&B now, there's an absence of the bridge, right?
Absolutely.
They don't, like R&B
but
now
shout
has
out
no bridges,
shout
right?
out to Folded.
Yeah, Folded.
Folded, like there's pre-choruses, there's bridges, there's modulations. I love that record so much because it's just like reminds me of. Like,
I feel like that's such an important record.
it's such an important record, and I really, really,
Right.
really hope that the record labels pay attention to like how important it is to structure a song and make it 3 minutes and 45 seconds and have bridges and like pre-choruses and all that, because it still matters.
You're right.
And like, yo, David, I need you to press a bootleg 12 for me.
Oh, we need that.
Please, I need a bootleg 12.
What record are you guys talking about?
Kehlani?
You really don't know that record?
Kehlani Folded. Oh, it's,
You would hate it.
I'm not really.
It's good.
Oh, no, I think
like
you would love
new
it.
R&B. I'm.
I think
Karl,
you
you
would
know
love
that
it.
record?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You play it?
I think you would love it. I think
Like,
it's
it's funny. Like
Yeah.
the kind of gigs that I end up playing. Like I obviously have it in the Serato, but like I haven't played it out.
Dog, I play that song
It'll
every
work.
fucking set.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like one of those that you hear enough about it, like that,
I mean, it's-
and go out and hear it. That
it is a prime time. It's a prime time record where you could drop it on the one, and
Especially
it
in
will- yeah.
today's climate,
today's, yeah.
where slow jams are getting played at 1 a.m. even in an open format
Right.
set.
And it's honestly
See-
it's an important record for Kehlani.
Yeah.
Because it's actually sustaining her as like a premier R&B artist now,
right.
It's her biggest hit
bi-coastally,
ever.
bi-coastally, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like she was more of this like kind of appreciated more on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And now she's like kind of now it's like I'm excited to hear like what she has next.
Yeah.
Because it's like opening the door up. To me it's a very important record. It's one of the few records since the Money Long record.
I was literally
Right.
about to say,
With Jermaine Dupri.
With Jermaine Dupri, shout out to Jermaine Dupri. It's just like,
but I wish that
you
that
know?
record had a bridge.
Right.
That song's only like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and it's
Yeah.
2 verses, and it's out. And I wish there was a bridge.
It's a bridge, and there is like the beat is very smart. It's very reminiscent to Confessions,
Okay.
but it just carries on, and it's one of those records where the longer it plays, the more you appreciate it. Hey, yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? This is the R.O.A.D podcast, Reflections of a DJ. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Now, I want to explain what the Sound Collective is. I got my man Lefty from the Sound Collective here. Lefty, thank you for having us and hosting this beautiful studio for us. Exactly what is the Sound Collective here in New York?
Modern, state-of-the-art facility with tons of production gear. And one side of it is you can be a member and you can come here and pay monthly to use the rooms and the gear and sign out time and our space. We have a state-of-the-art studio. We have all these production stations, DJ stations, instrument practicing rooms and such like that.
And you also like teach. You have like classes and sessions, right?
We have intensive programs, short-term programs that people can come and take Saturday classes on DJing, production.
There's like kind of a community building within where there's like DJs, producers, musicians.
Up and coming producers, people honing their craft and learning, and DJs and all these things. And they come here and practice, and we have all the new gear, so they come and check that out and get familiar. And a lot of DJs will come in from out of town, be like, let me get a day pass so I can just get a refresh on the 3000s and the V10.
And what's great is that a lot of our guests, everyone from like Clark Kent to the technician to like Camilo, they come in here and they're just like, holy shit.
You want to play with all the gear, man? Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but you guys have like studio spaces where people can do live streams and they can do their Twitch streams. here.
Yep. We got a whole green screen set up already, multicam, full on switcher. Like, we also do a lot of events here. We're bringing a lot of outside talent, organizations. We got a big event coming up with DJ City, Beat Source, and Serato.
That's part of our family.
Yeah. We did a big one last year with them. We got another one coming up.
For our listeners, is there any way we could hook them up with a deal, or, you know, like if they put in a R.O.A.D podcast code?
Yeah, tell me about it. What else do you have in vision for this deal? It sounds like we're well on our way. Why don't you tell them?
You're working with us where they can type in a code for like R.O.A.D.
Yep.
And they'll get a month free, right?
Yeah, on our online platform. We have a whole online platform with like masterclass style education.
Nice.
Different categories and everything, instruments, drums. I mean, and then we have these things that we're launching right now called Pro Paths. So you can choose, like if you're a producer, you can take the Ableton Pro Path, the Logic Pro Path, Serato Studio. So it goes through a wide variety of knowledge besides just stuff in that skill set and discipline.
So our road listeners, if you're in New York, you can check out their facility. You can do a day pass, a week pass, a monthly pass. You can check out their site. You have access to all the education online.
Soundcollective.com. We also have a YouTube channel that has some of our content from the educational courses, and all of our events are live streamed and put up there.
I hope we can come back here and use your facilities again.
Looking forward to it.
Shout out to Lefty and the Sound Collective. Thank you so much. And it's like, I remember there was a record you guys played, and it's when you first played it, I was like, oh my God, I love this record. And then when you kept letting it play, I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much
Which
I
tune
love
was
this
it?
record.
What record was it?
It was Donnell Jones, Where I Want to Be.
Bro.
Do you understand?
That's it. That we play that
You know?
every
night.
fucking
Every time you do
Absolutely.
this.
But the ill part
Peak
about
hours,
it too, is that record is like 55 BPM.
Yeah.
50 BPM. So what's really tight is you get to be playing that like 100 BPM. I mean, I know y'all play that record too.
Yeah.
And you get to halftime
I'll
it?
close with it.
Yeah.
That's not.
Oh, that's peak
yeah,
hours,
that's not-
bro.
Yeah, that's a special thing.
But it's
That's
cool
the
because it's a
difference with
transition
these
record.
guys.
It's like
Yeah.
you'll play 100 BPM and all of a sudden you halftime it and then you move into like 60, 65 and you get into that slow jam section.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we are belting our hearts out to
So-
R&B.
There's multiple sections in that record from beginning to end. Sibbidi-bidi-did-did-did-did
Oh my
to the
God.
end.
Oh.
You know?
No, good
To the absolute. I'm
Never
gonna look at you next
did
time
I.
when I sing that.
Come on.
Sibbidi-
Goldie was going crazy.
Please don't.
Goldie had his phone out. He was like,
Yeah, I got some good
I
footage
saw
of
him
that.
wiping his eyes too. He was tearing up.
also, like, what a great record, like, what it's about.
Right.
Like, I love you. I'm committed to you. I would never cheat on you, but I'm just so horny. I need to fuck other women.
It's such a different approach.
But I'm not going to lie and cheat on you.
It's such
and
a
I hope you're there when I get back.
It's such an elegant approach to something completely despicable, right?
Yeah, right?
And then Chris Brown redid it with "Say Goodbye." Same concept.
Yeah,
I think
straight
that's,
up.
that's kind of
I
like,
miss toxic R&B, man.
I was gonna say,
I
that's
miss
kind
that
of in line
era of
with the
toxic
tradition.
R&B.
That's kind of in line with the tradition of a lot of R&B songs.
It
Like-
is.
Like Before I Let Go is like let's just have one more night before I leave.
I don't think people realize
What that song is
What the
about.
song's about,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that and Reasons. Like people are like,
Yeah.
you get married to Reasons,
Or Sweet Thing.
you talking about?
Sweet Thing's about
Yeah, a side chick.
taking someone's man.
a side chick.
It's literally about taking someone's
But
man.
isn't that the elegance of R&B that's missing? Like it's so like
Yeah.
I feel like R&B now is almost like hip hop. It's just so blatantly brutal. Like it's very like
It's crass.
It's
brash.
misogynistic.
brash.
It's-
Yeah, it's
Hey,
brash.
back to Folded. Like that's
Yeah.
like kind of it's a thoughtful song about like a
Kick somebody out.
relatable idea.
Right.
Like some where it's like I'm kicking you out, but like there's a place for you. There's like maybe this window where you could come back,
Right.
and I would still be here.
I think what you're getting at though is like there's room for innuendo. Like we don't need to like spell everything out all the time.
Right.
You know?
When the Izzy brothers said, "I like the way you receive me," like
Fire.
that's a bar.
That's a bar.
That's a bar. You don't need. I take this dick. Like, what? Come on.
Like there's a real beauty in like innuendo and suggestion. And
In your
like,
what?
In suggestion, innuendo and suggestion.
Pause.
It's true, but the '90s was filled with songs like Horace Brown, "Taste Your Love,"
Yeah.
Fire.
SWV, "Downtown."
So I was
right?
actually going to say with these guys talking about R&B and bridges, the R&B I want to hear in the club is over a 2-bar breakbeat.
Okay.
That's what that's the
We
era
know.
that I came up in. Like, so when I first played these guys' party, right, and it was like, oh, it's throwback R&B. I was like, all right, perfect. I was bringing out Horace Brown and Intro and SWV and you know all of that era stuff. Shy with Jay-Z. And I was like, wait, they don't really want to hear this. And then these guys would come on and play like Deborah Cox, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, and
But
it would
also
erupt.
later. It's also later though.
No, they're playing this big time.
No. What I'm saying is that the song that you're describing is earlier '90s, and then
Well, yeah, but
Deborah
not
Cox
but,
is
but
a later
even
'90s.
even not just that. Like even the 90s and 2000 stuff, I was playing still not necessarily in line with, because if you think about what we were listening to in the 2000s, it was based on what was in the club, right? But if you've got a generation of people that are in their 20s, they weren't in the club, they were listening to what was on the radio. So their reference points are different. So I could talk about a song like, I don't know, like even like say Coffee Brown After Party, which was a massive record in the clubs. I don't think that charted. I don't think it was a radio smash like that. So it's not going to hit in the same way.
But that one kind of does for some reason.
Maybe that one does, yeah. But like, you know, like there's plenty of records that like didn't necessarily hit or chart or weren't radio smashes, but were huge in the club.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't translate because that audience's reference point is different.
But I get a great example of that is Candy Rain, right?
Right.
Like y'all,
Which version?
Y'all played
that is
the
earlier, but that's earlier though.
No, but it works with them. But
you played the.
What I'm saying is those songs were early in '90s, so this is like mid '90, '94 or so when those songs came out.
Yeah.
And if you're referring to like a song like a Coffee Brown or Lucy Pearl, it was a shift. You got neo soul after that, so it was a lot more musical, and those records weren't really getting played on hip hop radio if they didn't have a hip hop verse on it.
Yeah.
So this is more like an R&B. This would be the BLS Hot 97 type of situation.
Yeah.
So you would hear Coffee Brown on BLS, which is older, a little bit more R&B related.
Yeah.
And then you would hear So For Real on Hot 97.
Yeah, but I think the point you're trying to make is like I think most frequently play like the Trackmasters version of Candy Rain with like
which was the one that got played in the clubs.
which got one that got played in the clubs, and the one that I feel like actually the one that I probably played the most in my life just because of my age and like what I grew up on is like the album
video
version.
The album
video
version
version.
goes
Yeah.
so
The
much
video-
harder
video version.
for our era.
And there's a huge schism between
Yeah.
people who are under 40 and over 40 on that record.
like I never heard the album version in the club. I only ever heard the Trackmasters,
Right.
not the Heavy D version.
Heavy D, right?
Yeah, Heavy D, yeah.
I only
Yeah.
ever heard with the Grover Washington. Loop.
Yeah, I think it's an
Yeah.
age thing.
Yeah.
I really believe it's
Yeah.
that.
And that's the
100%,
point, right?
yeah.
Which is like there's this line of like, and there's these certain records that go and that don't, and then there's one that bring them together. I think like a really good also sort of example of this is like I'm sure peak hours you guys were playing like in the late '90s, early 2000s. You'd be playing Right Here by SWV, right?
Well,
You know,
I would
with
say-
the Michael Jackson sample.
I would say even
Human
then,
Nature.
yeah. We
But
played
what
that,
I'm saying
just-
is like that is more of an opening record for us now, and the peak hours record is weak.
You got to think of
And you play the whole 4
what-
minutes
Right.
But what I'm saying is
two
that,
bridges.
with two bridges.
We're not definitely. In
And it used to be
London-
the opposite, right?
Well, no.
Or it used to end with week.
You would end with week, but even like a record like Right Here, I feel like, and I'm just going off what we did in London and when I was coming out here, R&B in general was warm-up music.
Yeah.
Like peak time club set was hip-hop. You might get Mary's Real Love or like, you know, a handful
Biggie
of,
version?
Yeah, right. A handful of like remix shit that would pop at the, you know, like peak time. But for the most part, R&B was like how you moved into the night. So even when I first played your guys' party and I was like, I'm doing a peak set, but it's all R&B, like what am I gonna play? Like how, like I felt like I was doing a constant warm-up set rather than.
But our generation is also we saw like an era of R&B where like a slow jam needed a remix for
Yeah.
the club.
Yeah.
So like a hit song from, you know, Mariah Carey, SWV needed a remix for the club. It was unheard of for slow jam to play at a club.
Yeah.
You would never play a slow jam in a club.
Last song,
Right.
Last 10 minutes.
So
and
the actual concept of remixing like R&B to get played for the clubs in a hip hop kind of form, like our era in the 90s, it was still kind of experimental. It was still trying to find its way kind of in there where it was like, oh, let's put these like all the kids love hip hop. Let's put these like hip hop beats with the R&B.
Yeah.
So some of the early R&B like hip hop remixes that was more palatable and more danceable weren't as like highly produced or as good as the mid to late 90s.
Right,
Yeah.
Where they kind of were like, oh,
beats.
right.
It was just rapping over break beats.
Where it was kind of, it was then the idea changed where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you need a danceable single first and then a slow jam.
Yeah.
From the R&B artist.
I'll give you an
know?
example.
Yeah.
When I played Joe to see Freaking You in a club, there is no circumstance that I am not playing the
Raekwon
remix
and
with
Wu-Tang.
Ghost and Ray.
Yeah.
They'll play the original.
Played it last night.
Yeah, I don't even think I've ever played that song in a club.
Right.
And even the remix, that to us, it's not a slow jam, but it's still like it's a slow like Case Touch Me, Tease Me, the Freaking You remix, Brandy, I Want to Be Down,
Mary J,
Jodeci,
I Can
Come
Love
and
You.
Talk to Me. Like, those were our slow records. They're not like slow, but they are still like, all right, we're winding the night down. Little sing-along, maybe at H-Town, Knocking the Boots.
But those were constructed at that time to appeal to us, our generation.
Yeah. Right.
The problem is when streaming took over, those remixes didn't make it to the streaming platform.
That part.
So all these songs that probably our generation were listening to and the younger Gen Z kids were hearing in the background were the originals.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like those remixes that we know weren't getting played.
Right.
Another thing too,
And they weren't as accessible. You know?
Accessibility is a word that I wanted to use. When you guys were looking for records, most of the record stores were closed. So specialty spots.
Yeah.
A lot of those records aren't readily available for to buy.
Yeah.
And then those records are considered classics. So people are not really ready to give those records up. So they're not as available. So maybe you guys just don't know the how do you say? I'm not saying that you guys don't know, but I'm just saying
The crowd.
A lot of people may not be aware of those versions because they're not as available.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's good, everyone? This is Neek from Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. Whether you're just discovering the R.O.A.D podcast or a day one listener, if you've been loving the content or want more, here's your chance to support the pod. Get closer to the action and unlock exclusive content by joining our Patreon. This is for loyal listeners who want early access to new episodes 3 or 4 weeks ahead, your name in the credits of every video episode, and access to our exclusive R.O.A.D edit packs. Now, for the hardcore supporters, we've got our Tier 2 R.O.A.D for Life subscription for just $10 a month. This is an all-in package. You'll get everything from Tier 1 plus a monthly bonus episode, early access to our R.O.A.D 10 and R.O.A.D Talk interviews, behind-the-scenes content, our In the Crate series, along with exclusive unreleased content. This is your chance to support the podcast and get more of what you love. Join the family today at patreon.com/R.O.A.D podcast. Check the link in our descriptions. We appreciate you. Let's keep this journey going.
I mean, and I think that's kind of the learning curve, right? That Snips that our generation has with playing an R&B room.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, wait, this is what translated back in the day.
Yeah.
But now this is like, but these versions are hitting. And it goes with
but not
house
just-
and EDM too. Because,
not just versions though, even songs. Like
Right.
I remember the three of us and Nyla when shout out to Nyla, we went digging and Nyla was trying to get her R&B crates up and she was like, there needs to be a Mary section. Like just a section in record stores that have all
Mary
of
J.
Mary's
Blige,
records,
yeah.
right? And because I already knew what they would say, I was like, Nyla, ask them what Mary's biggest record is in the club. And Nyla's like, oh, it's got to be like Real Love or like, or Be Happy.
I think I know what you're talking about. Be Without
Everybody put your hands up.
You. Be Without
Be
You.
Without You.
Fellas,
Be Without You.
That to me is
And it's all about the ad-libs at the end.
Crazy.
That's the peak of the whole
end
thing.
is
Do I think it's her best record? Absolutely not. I think it's like her 27th best record.
It's a good record.
Mary is,
I kind of disagree.
but I'm just saying
You
like
think it's a good, you like
I think it's one of our best performances.
I mean, she sings so well.
Yeah, I think it's one of our best performances.
I will say that when that record dropped at the time, that was one of the few like slowy, jammy songs that we played prime time.
Yeah.
That
You played that in the club?
Yeah.
Without You?
That's Mary.
2005,
I remember
right?
like Bed was
That's Mary.
popping. That was
Really?
when like Bed
Bed,
was
Jay
popping.
Holiday.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean Bed the club.
I was like, 05, like that's right there. Like,
Yeah. My homie Sean Perry was playing that prime time and everyone was bopping. It was like in the middle of a hip hop set that
Wow.
we would run. But it was
I don't
but
think
those
I
were
ever
one of
heard
those
that in a-
yeah,
in
it was
a
it's-
club.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
if you and I were to speak, we would say maybe one of the biggest records for Mary would have been Real Love, the remix, or
Be Happy.
the Love No Limit, the Love No Limit
oh,
remix.
with the
Right.
Kenny Burke
Yeah.
bass.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would have been
Yeah.
if we just
Yeah.
dropped that on the one,
Or
everyone would have
Reminisce,
screamed.
so like,
I Can Love
yeah.
You.
You know?
I Can Love You. or
Yeah,
something like
what's the
that.
411?
Yeah, but
Like I could literally do I Love You with Smith and Wesson.
Right.
I could do like a
That
15
was
track
huge.
Mary mega mix in a club, and I wouldn't even think.
Yo,
to
shout
do,
out to my neighbor Tech.
Oh, you live next
Tech's literally my neighbor.
Wow.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, like, because Mary was such a big deal. I mean, still is, but like, was such a big deal, and all of her stuff was so inherently hip hop. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, let's make R&B over hip hop.
Yeah.
and that is a adult contemporary record.
Right.
And
right.
to 30-year-olds, yeah, we obviously still love, you know, all that stuff. I mean, me personally, like the My Life record is just front to back, better than anything. But that's the biggest record for our, like, that is a anthem. Like, people scream their hearts out to that record. And don't you ever cut it off. Like, don't skip around. That is a 3-minute, 4-minute record, whatever. You play the whole fucking.
And you know the other one they play? Fine. Was it
Just
Fine?
Yeah.
Just Fine.
Oh, come on, man.
Now,
Hate that record.
you guys brought up Nyla.
You hate
guys-
self-love.
Yeah, right. That record's great.
You guys brought up Nyla, and she's like one of the DJs out here that's doing a thing on the vinyl tip as well. How much women presence do you feel kind of adds to your selection?
Yo,
Because I see a lot of female DJs that's playing vinyl, and I know that shapes the room a little different, being that they have presence in the clubs.
well, I mean, our party's for women.
Only play for women.
We literally only
Ignore
play
the men. The men will
for women.
stay.
We don't. And the wild part about it is, and we talk about this all the time. People always talk about this with our party is, and I'm sure actually it's with y'all too. Is the women are buying the tables?
Yeah.
The women are getting dressed up, and like overly dressed up, and they get their Uber Black, and they pregame, and they buy 2 bottles, and there's no men. The party is like legitimately 70% women. And they're all there to be with each other. Goldie was but and it's dope. And we've made like a super safe space for women to celebrate their birthdays or, graduating med school or
just having girls' night.
It's
and I feel
ladies'
like the
night.
women
And it
that
doesn't
come to
say
your
ladies' night
parties-
anywhere on it. It just happens.
I also feel like they come with no intention of looking for men.
No.
I feel like they come to be with other
With their
women.
girls.
It is a girls' night out. It's
Yeah.
almost like, to me, it's a scene in a TV show or a movie of like a group of girlfriends who like love each other.
Yeah.
And then one of them is celebrating a birthday or divorce or whatever, or breakup. And they're like, let's go to, Tuesdays at, Record Room. And they reserve their table. They got 2 bottles of wine. And they're just enjoying each other's company. And the great thing is, in the early part of of your party, it's kind of like you're playing a lot of like kind of songs. You're taking a little more chances. You're going a little left, a little more B-sides, some remixes that people never heard. And then it slowly builds up as they're drinking and they're getting a little more tipsy and they're feeling it. And then the ballads and the sing-alongs start hitting. It's the same arc that you guys do.
Yeah,
right?
and do you know what? There was one other thing I was going to say, but I actually have something to touch on that goes back to the whole intentionality thing, right? One thing I was going to say, when playing their parties initially, when I would see them play like ballad slow jams, and I'd be like, you're going to make these women cry. Like, in my mind, I'm like, slow jams are to get people laid at the end of the night, right? You're playing some Jodeci, some H-Sound. You're trying to get people couple up, take the paint off the wall, and take somebody home. And it was...
Paint off the wall is crazy.
I had to realize, that's what you used to call it. You're scrubbing the paint off the wall.
That's fire.
In the corner. And then what I realized was like, these girls aren't coming out to meet anyone. They're just coming out to be with their girls. They want to have that moment where they're bonding over, a heartbreak anthem or a record. So I had to change the way that I looked at what the purpose of the records were, which I didn't understand initially. But what you were saying about following like an arc, right? And I think this is the whole thing around intentionality with DJing is you're like the limitations of what allow you to be the most creative, right? Like even when you listen to producers talk about equipment they use and Pete Rock or Easy Mo B will talk about using the SB and such limited sample time allowed you to be more creative and create things you would never create if you had, X amount of space. I think it's the same when you're packing records. So it's like last week, right? I get in there. There was not last week, the week before, Karl was away and I was playing the whole night by myself. By 8:45, it was fucking couldn't move in there. And in my mind, I'm like, shit, I've got... a crate of hype shit that's gonna turn the place over.
Right.
I've got my warm-up R&B records. I've got my reggae set. But I'm already in a space now where I'm like, I need to turn it up now. But I've got X amount of records, right? So how do I turn it up but not shoot my load too quickly and have nothing to play at 11 o'clock.
Whoa.
So that whole kind of like process of thinking like 2 hours ahead, right? Which you don't do with Serato, because with Serato it's like, right, cool, I can play 30 seconds of every single big record that's ever come out, like for 5 hours straight, and everybody's just going to be losing their shit.
Right. Well, I think with Serato in the past, like maybe decade or 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
It's been about like edits, energy, like kind of more tracks.
Yeah.
We have unlimited tracks.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's like a catering to this short attention span. We're almost letting the crowd dictate the energy.
Yeah.
Quicker mixes. There's an anxiety. Oh, like they're not feeling this. I got to switch the record.
Totally.
And I have so many records. In Serato, I could just switch it.
Yeah.
And there's like, we're trying to, and then we're always chasing the bigger moments. And we're even like kind of losing patience.
Yeah.
Where we're like, nah, I need like every record I drop has to have
Yeah.
or people have to have their hands up.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of what you guys are doing is like I'm going back to this word, the intention, right? You're
Yeah.
like intentional DJs, you're reacting to the room, but you're designing the experience, right?
Yeah.
And so your choices are deliberate, you're pacing, you're keeping with the format, you're giving every song some space, and you're kind of educating the audience to be patient with you. And I think with vinyl, it allows that constraint. And that's another key word I think that's interesting is constraint, and how the constraint is actually your tool. That limitation is a tool for you guys. Fewer choices. When you pick a record, you got to commit to it, right? You can't like hop out of it. There's no safety nets.
Yeah.
There's no panic scrolling, right? You have to commit to it. So your intention on the next song has to be so deliberate. And you got to sit in your mistake or sit in your
Or you got to sell it.
choice, right?
You
You got to sell it.
You got to
right?
be like, no, like this isn't hitting, but like
Right.
it's hitting for me, so it's gonna hit for you.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that in itself, that approach, I've been thinking about this a while because I what I saw you guys do on the 2 nights at Record Room, it made me think like, wow, like there's a shift happening. Or like even as a DJ, I'm like, this is amazing.
I take that ethos when I spin digitally too, like fully, like through and through. I let records play as long as I think that they should be played, and I'm not necessarily being the one to quick mix. I'm not necessarily being the one to drop mad sound effects, and I think.
But he will dance.
And I will dance.
You will dance.
And
You
I'll
got a
dance
dub
behind
siren
you.
too.
And I have my little dub siren. I bring it out.
So some sound effects. Just,
But I guess the point I'm making is also like when you're doing a lot of these parties that I get booked for, it's like 4, 5, 6 DJs with hour sets, right? And I will take it upon myself to not be necessarily the star that night, even though maybe I have like a 1 a.m. slot. Or like a 12 a.m. slot or whatever it is, where it's like, okay, this is like peak of the party. I will intentionally take 10 minutes, 15 minutes of that set to bring the energy down and to slow it down so that it can be brought up again. Because the thing about these events, and I think this is a point maybe for a separate podcast or whatever, because I know we're talking about records, but so many events and parties now are just like stacked with DJs. And everyone feels like they need to be a star.
Yeah.
And parties can't be here the whole time. They have to go like this. And I think that I really take it upon myself to be a team player sometimes, and like I will bring the energy down intentionally, or I'll play records longer intentionally, and I'll watch the room dissipate a little bit so I can bring it right back up.
I think every one of us, you guys too, I'm sure if you're playing out a lot at the moment, we've all experienced walking into a club where there's 20 people there, it's 10 p.m., the warm-up DJ's playing, and they're back-to-back trap records to an empty room, just trying to like get everything they want to get off, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, why? And then the next DJ will come and do the same thing to a slightly more busy room, and then the next DJ will do the same thing to an even more, and then eventually the 1 a.m. DJ comes and does the same thing again,
right.
But it's packed and it works, and it's like, well,
right.
None of you played your position other than the 1 a.m. DJ.
It's obnoxious.
It's wildly obnoxious.
Yeah, and I think the crowd's understanding that more and more.
Yeah. But yes and no, because I think there's an element of like, and I've had this even at Record Room where like younger people will come at 8 p.m. People are eating, drinking, everyone's at the table, and then you'll get girls come be like, when are we going to turn up? And it's like, yo, there's a bunch of 40-year-olds eating chicken skewers and talking about their day at work right now. Like, listen to this Marvin Gaye and shut the fuck up. You know, you can turn up in 2 hours when everybody's dancing. You know, like they don't understand this concept of like you said, the arc. You know,
Yeah, I think like the proliferation of all like the vinyl, like one venues that really want us to play these type of sets, right? Like kind of like commercial leaning hip hop and R&B adjacent sets. Honestly, it's been a saving grace for me because I really don't enjoy doing the parties with like 7-8 DJs and like hour set.
Yeah.
Selfishly because like, you know, I prefer to play a longer set or like play with like one or two other people where you have like a little bit of time to do what you were saying, like to bring the energy up and down and, you know, kind of play your music and really get in your bag a little bit. And so for me, you know, doing like the sets at Record Room has really been great in that regard. And then also to Snips' point though, there's sometimes that education that has to happen of people like coming in expecting their mind to be blown when there's 6 people at the bar, like at 7 o'clock, you know?
Right.
But I think that's the case no matter where you're DJing, right?
So speaking of the arc and just kind of like the early side of this party, you know, like Snips, when I was at your party, I was like hearing you play all these remixes and B-sides that I haven't heard. And the crowd was so receptive to me. They were like, even though they weren't turning up, they were kind of paying more attention to the music.
Because to me, that's what you're supposed to be doing at that time of night.
Right.
You still got food on your table. You know, I don't want women standing on the table twerking when people are trying to eat chicken next to them.
Right.
Like it's not time for that yet. So for me, it's like that's what you're supposed to be doing at that time.
But for me, I would still have an anxiety of like one for you, one for me.
Right,
but you're like kind of in our early side. You're like for me.
Yeah,
a little bit,
but
kind
still
of
for you.
Right,
like you just
a little bit.
You
right?
just don't know it's for you.
You just don't know it yet. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, we've built a level of
Trust,
desire and trust with these people.
think.
These people book these tables, I swear to God, 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
These tables are gone in like 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
So people plan a long time in advance to come to our nights because they're so high in demand. So when they get there at 8 o'clock, they're just excited to be there.
Yeah.
And to like have the opportunity to be there.
There is a beauty of it.
So they're patient. They know what's going to happen.
But also,
they've seen it on the internet.
I've had people come up to me and be like, "I come early because I want to hear the
This is the part.
stuff.
It's not one for you, one for me. It's like we're hoping everyone is going to be one for someone
Right.
in that early set. Like
Yeah.
if you can catch, if you know this, you're going to go crazy and you're going to be so excited it's playing because you never hear it. And that's what I'm hoping for with every track I throw out. And it doesn't always work. But I'm like also just setting a vibe and setting the early energy.
And that's part of the. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
I was going to say that's part of like kind of like our ethos as DJs too. Is instead of just playing exactly what you expect to hear for 6 hours, like you can find that anywhere. You can find that at home. You know what I mean? Like I think a phrase you hear a lot is like we're all competing against people's couches, right? And their Spotify playlist or whatever. And so to get people in the door and create an experience that they might want to come back to every week or every other week, whenever they come out. It's about kind of showcasing our taste and like making this an experience that's different. Like Snips plays records all the time that I've never heard, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, like I'm doing my homework too. You know what I mean?
But also, nobody goes home going, "Oh my God, I went to this party. The DJ played Drake, then he played Nicki Minaj, then he played Cardi B. It was so like nobody remembers that DJ. They'll go and they'll have a great time and they hear the stuff that they expect. People leave and they're like, "Yo, did you hear that record he played?" Like, or like, "Fuck, I had to Shazam that." Or like, "Oh my God, I haven't heard that in ages." Like, that's the stuff that people remember. And that's what sets you apart from like, because like we said, like you said, you can teach a monkey how to use Spotify. There's so many DJs right now. Anywhere you go, and I try and say this when people request stuff, and they're like, "Well, you're not going to play Sexy Red?" I'm like, you can go to every single bar in New York City right now and hear that. Like, come in here with a slightly more open mind. And that's not to knock Sexy Red or City Girls or whatever else is being played. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's like, you can hear that in every single club in New York right now. Like, open your mind to hear
especially on the
something
early
different,
set.
you
Like
know?
I'll play like Foreign Exchange, and like people will come up to me like, "What is this?" Because it sounds like something you're supposed to know. Does that make sense? Like it's like, oh, like this fits. You might play
Such
Dwele
a
before.
good record.
You play like Dwele Find a Way before, and you play like Foreign Exchange Come Around or something like that, and then he'll play something by Donnie or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, or a remix by Tall Black Guy or Hassan Insane or whoever, and people are like, oh, like this, like why don't I know this? And that's, I think, part of the goal too of those early sets.
The early set's like an hour and a half to gain like a lifelong fan. Like if you play the right song, you have someone that like gets your Instagram, gets the information, like brings her friends to the party, brings their friends to the party next time. Like it's an opportunity, that early set.
I think
honestly, I've
go
got
ahead.
to a point where I've had to stop taking gigs at places that I don't think make me look good, because I've got so many people that have come to Record Room, got my Instagram, been like, you're my DJ. Like I'm following wherever you're playing, I want to come. And now I'm to the point like there were clubs I was playing at was just, this is a money gig or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm seeing these girls turn up and I'm like, I would have told you don't come here. Like, come tomorrow, I'm doing it. So it's getting to the point where I'm like, I can't take gigs that don't make me look good anymore because
it's not consistent
I'm
with your
getting
brand.
So many people following me from these parties that it's like, shit, this is, and I've never had that. And we've done this in the previous podcast. Like we talked about the party I ran in London, 800, 900 tickets. I've never in my DJ career had the amount of following that has come from one party as I have with the Record Room stuff. Like every week it's like consistent, like and it converts. Everybody does it. Oh, what's your Instagram? I need a DJ, and then you never hear from them again. Like it converts. I'll meet people every week, and it's like, oh shit, they've turned up at this gig, this gig, and they've followed me here and followed me. Like
there's something genius about like it almost being an after work thing, like an after work party, but a little late, but like kind of before. Like
time to
club
get dressed.
times, yeah.
Just enough time to go home and get dressed. Yeah.
Right, and it's like just before the club times that allows you to like kind of do those early sets where it's like a dinner, like early drink cocktail kind of hour where you guys can play and have that freedom.
But because of the nature of that, you also sometimes get two crowds as well. You get the crowd that like there's times we'll turn up at 7:30 and there's people been there since 6:30, but they'll leave at 9. They literally just come out to hear some like chill R&B stuff that they don't know, have their food. And then you get another wave of people that come at 9:30 and they're the ones that stay till the end of the night. And you get some that stay the whole time, but you often can get like two completely different crowds that come.
Those motherfuckers turn up. Ones were there all night.
I do want to talk about your party a little bit more and how like the arc of your party is. Because, with Suede on a Tuesday, it's R&B. So it completely focuses on R&B. Whereas you guys kind of like start with classics into R&B and then go into like kind of a turn up hip hop, but like a throwback New York energy.
Yeah.
And I want to see like in my head, if someone told me that concept in 2025, 2024, I would have been like, yo, that shit sounds like played out. That sounds like some old man shit where you're trying to like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what's so funny about it because it is right. And this is why I try and tell people that consistently chase this idea of cool, right? The coolest hip hop you can be into right now sounds like it came out in '95. Like that's the popular shit that everybody's trying to make. All the kids want to make now. Like everything that was cool that became uncool is going to become cool again. So yeah, the least cool thing you could do in the world 5 years ago was play 2000s R&B and hip hop on vinyl, right? What the set that I play at Record Room, I play that set digitally. Like it's not really any different from the sets that I play anywhere else. I do the, like you said, I play R&B classics, warm up. I do and I different than these guys. I do the quick mix thing. I just don't do it through my whole set. There's a time and place within my set. Like, listen, I used to come here and watch Goldie play at Lotus. You would quick mix like crazy at a certain point of the night.
Yeah, just to change the energy.
Yeah, but like you're not doing that at 10 o'clock.
Right.
You're doing that at 1 p.m. when you're running through like the bigger Southern records and the big kind of New York anthems. You're not gonna play Dipset, I Really Mean It for all 3 verses or whatever it is.
Right.
There's certain records that need hard impact, right? I do that at Record Room in the same way that I do it when I'm playing on Serato. And that's kind of what I treat that as my flex, is that I want people to come to me and be like, shit, I thought you were playing on Serato. Because I want you to think that the mixing and the like everything and the quickness of it, I want you to be like, shit, I didn't even realize you could do that on vinyl. Because in my mind, I'm like, all my heroes did that on vinyl. you know? Like I've gone and seen you play, I've gone and seen Stretch play, I've gone and seen Cypher play, Flex, all of them. I've gone and seen DJs who have a whole stack of records right next to the turntable, literally like running through shit like crazy. So for me, it's not a weird thing to do that on vinyl. That's kind of what I always did.
Yeah.
You know? And then I took that into Serato. So
yeah,
but it's just going back to doing the same thing that I've always done. You know?
I think that's a really important to make about quick mixing specifically. So I think sometimes every once in a while there's like a debate about it. And I think, you know, the thing about quick mixing, it's a tool in the toolbox, right? And I think you use it in a very specific and intentional, like you said, intentional way to create energy, to move the party forward in some way that makes sense. And like you can still find moments where you play a song like 3 verses into the bridge, like you don't have to call. Perfect example of a record that you play all the way through, or Before I Let Go, like records like that as examples. But quick mixing is like, it's also just part of like the tradition of hip hop, in my opinion. So if you're gonna, in my opinion, if you're playing a party where you're playing a lot of hip hop records, I think that should be, and as a DJ, I think it's like a core component of what you should be doing, in my opinion.
I also think it's like unapologetically New York.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with Moochie about this. It's like, I look, there's a lot of clubs in New York, in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, but I never feel like I'm necessarily experiencing New York nightlife.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
even though we're in New York, it doesn't feel like.
And I know
like
this is
New
weird
York.
to say, considering all 4 of us here aren't from New York. Well,
Right.
Karl's from New York, but not from
Not
the city.
Yeah.
But none of the DJs are from New York.
Yeah.
That's the issue with.
But I think that's important because I think
that's why it doesn't sound like New York anymore.
I think someone born and raised in New York is spoiled.
I studied New York harder because of that.
Yeah.
Like I was like, if I'm showing up here, I gotta like know the records.
Oh
I
my
gotta
god!
know
When we moved to New York, we weren't booked at all. Like no one knew us. What?
Right.
No one knew us for shit, and we spent like damn near a year just going out,
Right.
buying the cheapest beers possible and sitting on them and sitting in the corner and talking to each other and like listening to the records that got played because there's a lot of them we didn't know. You know, so you have to do your homework. And like in this city, oh my god, like you got to do your homework, man.
Right.
And like you got to play for New Yorkers. And
See,
it's a tough crowd.
I would disagree. I feel like you don't need to do that anymore, which is what is actually sad because a lot of the audience that go out, they're not New Yorkers. That's the thing. And the DJs aren't New Yorkers. And I, coming from London, maybe I consume New York culture a little different, which probably sounds weird being that I'm actually from an entirely different country. But my first experiences in clubs were listening to Funk Flex and Cypher Sounds and Max Glazier and the DJs that Westwood would bring over. And so we were consistently exposed to New York DJs. So our aspiration, especially within the hip hop world, not necessarily within like the dance hall or the soul or rare groove world, but in the hip hop world, those were who we listened to. So even our, like my OG is Shorty Blitz, who is, he could come here and play next to any of the New York greats and he wouldn't sound out of place. That's how we and even the records. I could show you live recordings at Notting Hill Carnival in 1996 with Westwood playing, and the biggest response to any of the hip hop records you played was Broken Language by Smooth the Hustler. You literally heard the whole place erupt. I don't think anywhere outside of New York City and maybe Philly is gonna respond to a record like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So
I do. But I think like being outside of New York, coming into New York, falling in love with New York, and having this admiration for New York and what you fell in love with about the New York club scene, the music. It resonates more when you're not from New York and born and raised in New York.
100%.
So like for us, like I wasn't born here, but I moved here when I was 1, so I was basically raised here. But it's almost like, not that it's disposable, but it's like it was all around us.
Yeah.
So we didn't like a bootleg T-shirts of Biggie in the 90s. We weren't like, oh my God, we want those T-shirts. We were like, yo, that shit is played out. That shit is corny.
Right.
like tourists coming into town.
Most Def said something about while you're arguing about what it is, I'm on the Ave where it lives.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a great lyric. And yeah.
But I think you guys have this, like you have this admiration and this almost like this fantasy of what New York is.
Yeah.
And like when you, as the nightlife and club scene evolved, as kind of New Yorkers that were raised here, we're evolving with it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're kind of like, well, what happened to what I fell in love with?
That was cool.
Right. It's almost like what happened to the New York that I fell in love with. And it's almost like you guys are recreating it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I had a great conversation. You broke it down, Moochie, that like we had a conversation about what it is to create a New York experience. Do you remember that? Where you basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but maybe you could say it better. But you were kind of saying like there is no New York experience in New York right now. So you're almost creating a New York experience even for transplants or this new generation, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and I tell this to people all the time, I think the thing that makes New York the greatest city in the world is people move to New York to be a New Yorker. And to be a New Yorker is to not stay in your apartment. It is to go outside and to be around other people, like-minded people, find your tribe, and to live in people. Because a lot of people who move to New York, they don't stay here for a long time. Like they get their little 4 or 5 years or whatever, and then they have a family and they move away. But for the transplants that move here, and for the people that have been here, for generations, they cherish being outside and like being around other like-minded people. And it makes our job the best job in the world for that. Like, people don't move to LA to be in LA or to be a Californian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about that because there is a cliche on what New York is and what New Yorkers are. And I think like kind of like catering to that nostalgia and that era of like wearing the Yankee cap, right? Wearing Tim's. It's like when you have the musical soundtrack that was like omnipresent during that time playing for transplants, they're like, oh my God, like this is so New York.
This is about to be this episode's call hopping, isn't it?
Are you wearing Tim's right now too?
Yeah, I don't wear Tim's. My man is lobbing this up for a clip. Like,
no, I like you were saying, like a transplant comes in.
He's not even from New York.
This is like,
yeah, right.
This is
that's what I'm gonna get in the comments. He's not even from New York. Man's is from Massachusetts, from the suburbs.
But that's why you understand. But you understand. Like this is the experience that you want to showcase.
This is why I moved to New York.
Right.
Yeah.
I was coming here all the time through college, and like I always knew I wanted to be in this city, and this is where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. I knew that. I was probably like 18, 19 years old. I was like, this is where I want to be. So when I moved here, like I want to be a part of the fabric of the city, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, it is a motherfucking privilege.
Right.
Like I'm so proud to be raising my son here, and for him to be like, I'm from New York.
Right.
I am a New Yorker. And I know I didn't grow up here, but I'm so fucking proud and privileged to be living here and to be accepted by people who are from here.
I think people can hear, the crowd, me, myself, we can hear the love for New York and admiration for New York culture in the way you guys play.
Yeah.
It's omnipresent. It's like the atmosphere you guys are creating. It's like me and Goldie are New Yorkers. Like when we walked in, we're like, yo, like I felt like I was in a time warp. Like I felt like we went in a time machine and it was like 25 years like earlier. And we're like, yo, I've never felt this way in like probably more than 10 years, right?
It's been a while, and especially being in this on vinyl, and it's a definite different vibe. It's New York, but it's sexier. It's of the time.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
It's updated, but we keep it with the time.
Yeah.
Their party is definitely sexier than ours.
I'm going there Thursday, so
come through.
we'll see.
Our party is very sexy as well.
Can you clip that just for us?
Yeah, right.
We'll post that separately.
Listen, don't get twisted.
He didn't say better though.
I just mean that where they're 70% women, I would say we're probably like 50-50.
Okay.
but then we're not solely an R&B party.
Right.
Like
I'm low-key jealous because I wish I got to play other music.
Like I played Shook Ones last week and the roof came off. You wouldn't be able to do that at their party.
Right.
Never.
You know?
I mean, what's the R&B? Like, I'm jealous. I have
played
so many
through
records
some
I wish I
Ds.
could play.
Yeah,
Last night.
we played. Yeah, I played like Nas's. Like we had like 10 or so people rapping along.
Hell yeah.
It was good. It was
I
like
heard- I heard-
Did you cut it up with doubles?
We saved it till
I
later.
do. I do sometimes on a rotary. Like,
Yeah.
what was I cutting up a week ago? So Ghetto by Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so ill.
Yeah.
But one thing I was going to say about what you were saying about the love affair with New York, I think for me, I need to just clarify that I do have a love affair with New York, but my love affair is with hip hop. I'm not like my love affair with New York is default because I have a love affair with hip hop. So I came here because of how I feel about hip hop music and hip hop culture, but you can't remove New York from hip hop culture, right? So I think for me, my goal was always to contribute to the culture of hip hop more than just the culture of New York City, right? But like I said, you can't do one without the other, right? So for me, being here and the way I play and how I choose to like present myself is very much is like I came here to contribute to this culture that really has raised me since a kid in the 80s, you know? And I was coming here, like I said, I was seeing you play at Lotus. I was going to Speed. I was going to like, you know, I was in those clubs in the early 2000s, even late 90s. First club I ever went to was a club called The Palace in East Flatbush off Utica. Like that was my first experience in a club in New York. So I think for me, my biggest goal isn't necessarily to what's the word? Like kind of like, not that I don't want to add on to New York culture, but I'm trying to add on to hip hop culture within New York, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, you know, New York isn't a monolith. Like we've had this conversation, Goldie, where like, you know, you had different worlds. You had the Bentley's club world, and then you had the tunnel.
Right.
You know, like they were two different worlds. For me, it's like not to knock that the R&B Bentley's club world, but I wanted to be in the tunnel. Like that was the world. That's the world I wanted to come and be a part of. So for me, what I'm trying to not replicate but pay homage to is a specific part of New York culture that inspired me.
Yeah.
And I
You
think in the conversations that we had before we started the party together, I think it was really important to us. One, like if we were really intentional about not mentioning that it was like an ode to New York or whatever, like because one, like you being from London, me being from Spring Valley, New York, and not the city, I think there's like a level of respect there that we're not trying to say that we are like these homegrown acts that like created this thing that's, you know what I mean?
No,
so we're just being really
yeah.
intentional about it, but then also we didn't want it to descend into any kind of parody. We wanted to be authentically us, like that we love this music, we love this culture, that we wanted to contribute to it in this way. And also I think it's important to mention too, like there's like Nyla is a DJ that we mentioned that's like a native New Yorker that plays at Record Room, like Wolf. And I think that kind of contributes to the energy of the spot too, is like people sometimes come on other nights and then they'll hear about our nights and vice versa and be like, oh shit, like if this is what it's like on Friday, like what's it like on Thursday or Tuesday? And
No, I think that sincerity and earnestness is apparent in the way you guys are DJing.
Yeah.
And the music that y'all are playing. So yeah, I think it's apparent, and it's like it's undeniable when you're there and you're experiencing it. I don't think there's a question of like, oh, this is like, you know, they're making a mockery or they're doing something like
Right.
cliche
I
or like
appreciate that.
stereotypical of what New York would be. I think it's amazing because it's so accurate, and it's like another generation is experiencing it for the first time.
And
it's
I
like,
need
you
to
know,
remind myself that it's about drawing in another generation as well.
Yeah.
Because I actually forget that that's who I'm trying to bring in. I'm looking above me. So I'm still looking at it like I play with Stretch or I play with Cypher, you know, or I play with one of these guys I grew up, and they rate me and they respect me. And that I'm still looking at them. I'm like, oh man, I want Kid Capri to know who I am. I want, you know, I want all these guys to know. And I forget it's actually like, stop looking upwards and actually, and I don't want to say down, I'm not saying
Be
I'm looking
present.
down,
Just be present.
but look at the next generation that you're pulling in rather than continually looking at the generation that inspired you and wanting them to notice you. Because that's still where I'm at. Like, you know, I can have 1,000 people in front of me that I'm playing to, but if Kid Capri walks in or DJ Enough walks in, I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm just trying to make sure they notice me, which I need to get out of that mindset because I'm still such a fan.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that that like kind of intergenerational thing is important too, as far as like the education piece, like you were saying, but also people who are younger who weren't outside when like You, Me, Him, and Her came out. Like I was a kid. So, but that's what I thought the club sounded like. So for me, hearing like Flex on the radio play it or whoever, like that was like if I ever start DJing or whatever, that's what I want to play, you know?
Yeah.
And it's important to kind of pass these records on, like, you know, to use Jay-Z's like a massive artist, like a legend, right? But, you know, there's inherently over time, like records that get fall away. And like, I think there's a generation of kids that think he's the Empire State of Mind guy, right? Which is crazy to say about an artist like Jay-Z as an example. And there's a million amazing like club records that he was featured in, or like the artists of that era that's commercial hip hop, but it's still like amazing music. Yeah. And hopefully it inspires, you know, like other like artists of today to make music like that. Because I would love to play new stuff that sounds like that too. You know what I mean?
What's funny? You just said that. I remember saying this to Mooch as an example when I was trying to explain that like some of the records that their generation cite as being the big record, like wasn't necessarily what we're into. And I remember saying to Mooch, I was like, this is what's going to happen. One day you're going to be 45. You're going to be playing with somebody who's 15, 20 years younger than you. They're going to pull out a Nicki Minaj record and they're going to cue up Starships. And you're going to be like, that wasn't a record. We were playing Did It On 'Em or Moment of Life. But this 25-year-old DJ at the time is going to be like, well, Starships was the record I heard on the radio. This is Nicki's big record, you know? Yeah. And that's the perfect example of what you're saying, like people looking at Jay-Z like he's the Empire State of Mind guy, not the You, Me, Him, and Her guy, or the, you know?
Yeah. Like Goldie, you're like, you kind of were part of the blueprint for like club rocking in this era of music that they're talking about. When you see this like extremely relevant and resonating with like younger crowds now, how do you feel? Like you were the motherfucker setting the blueprint of how we rocked the clubs back then. How do you feel about that?
It's crazy to me because you're playing like all different styles and seeing it on record 20 years after the fact. Yeah. Because it was like a time when records pretty much kind of disappeared. Everybody kind of made the switch from, you know, records, vinyl, CDs to Serato. So if you were really collecting vinyl, it was like, oh, really, this is interesting. So I'm interested now that 2025, you guys are playing vinyl and how it doesn't sound, it still sounds fresh. It doesn't sound like redundant from party to party. How do you guys do that with not a lot of, you know, record stores around and stuff of that nature?
You'd be surprised how many record stores there are and how much new records are still getting. Like these guys, I'm always surprised when I see what they pull out on vinyl, like new records that they pull out. Like they have all the new R&B, from the Victoria Monets to the Scissors to the Kailanis to what. These guys have all of that stuff on R&B and like, they play it.
And like I went on Discogs and found like Fantasia Free Yourself, the album from when that came out, because I needed Free Yourself. Like there was a time, I feel like the first 2 years we were putting all of the money that we made at Buttons into Discogs orders, just filling up carts in like
that's what they have that we never had.
All right, so that's when you first started collecting records.
No, I mean, we started buying records.
Been collecting for a long time, but like really intentionally collecting for this party. Oh yeah, it was
for the party.
Pretty quickly, I feel like we cleared out like Human Head, captured A1, like got everything we could out of there, and then there's all these other records we couldn't find, or maybe got pressed overseas, and that's the spot you get them. So you gotta fill up a huge cart on Discogs and get the shipping all in one, so you're not just like paying a ton for shipping.
What's your monthly like budget for vinyl?
God. Budget? I don't even want to think about it.
I can't tell you.
I don't even want to think about it.
My wife might watch this.
It's expensive. Yeah. I wonder. I bet at this point I've broken even, but like I think for a long time I was in the red. Like as far as just the money I made off of. Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing. It's just like you guys continue to push this party and play it. And it's a labor of love. Like people don't realize it.
Nah,
you know?
that part.
Yeah.
I tell people this all the time. I'm like, bro, you know how much fucking money and like effort and work it takes to source and buy and play these records. And I was like, this gig is
Goldie's like, yeah, I do.
No, exactly. But that's why. But that's why DJing has like changed like the barrier to entry, because like it used to take so much money and effort and work to become a DJ. Right. And it wasn't the sexy, easy thing to do to just like download songs and put them on your laptop or USB, and like, you used to have to spend a lot of time. And you can rock a party with $5 records. You don't need expensive records. You can
100%.
spend. I tell people all the time, like, yo, if you want to get into this, just commit. Well, you got to buy the equipment first of all, which is pricey. But I was like, once you commit to that, you can go to a record store and you can spend, $300-$400, $500, whatever it is, and walk out of there with a 4-hour set.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that, and you just have to really think about it.
It's starting to get harder though, because you're actually now more and more people are doing it. Those records are getting more scarce, so they are going up.
And that's why in my brain, I'm like, me buying these records, like, I'm good. This is my son's comic fund. It's all good. These are holder value.
But what
I should get back into the family business, is what you're saying?
Well, like how many of Goldie's bootlegs do you guys play?
Goldie's what? Goldie's what?
Allegedly.
I'm gonna start making bootlegs. There's some records I need.
You need to talk to Goldie
But I will
because
tell-
Relax, crooked.
for
And we
real,
got
though,
here.
Firstly, just to go back to what you were saying about like how do you do it now with less record stores, Discogs is a key thing, right? There was no Discogs when we were. I try and tell people this all the time, like if you weren't a top DJ, right, you didn't get all the promos, right? And some of these big records became big because only a handful of DJs had them. Flex had them, Cypher had them, whoever had them were cutting them up. They became big records, but not every DJ could get them. So I remember I used to go to this place called Uptown. And it was a guy called Ronnie Harrell that used to run it, right? He was a big DJ in London. And I remember when Usher's Ride came, was it Ride? When, over the J-Lo thing?
J-Lo beat.
5 copies maybe made it to London.
Yeah.
And Uptown had all of them. So you can't go in and buy that. He's holding those 5 for the 5 DJs he knows he has to give them to. So you can't play it. As simple as that. And that culture of like, if you don't have it, you can't play it. That doesn't exist with digital DJs, right? Everybody can play anything. You can get anything you want. So I feel like with us, the reason we all sound different is because we all have different records, right? And we're coming from a mind state of like, I don't have to play everything, right? Because you can't have any. And even if you have everything, you can't bring everything. Right?
Yeah, right.
We all got our little
and in
signature
fact-
transitions too.
Right.
Like there's I could walk in a room at a certain moment in your party and know who's playing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the same for us. I mean, I always know I know if he's playing immediately because I played with him for so long.
And he steals all your mixes?
Hey, it's happened. It's happened before.
I took a couple.
A famous mix stealer.
But also, I will say that just to answer your question before about how you don't keep it stagnant, we all buy new records. So even though I feel like the what's the word for sound aesthetic? I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah, I guess like the sound of the party.
Yeah, the sound of the party
Yeah.
is
The
very
soundtrack,
much
right?
like
Yeah.
classic New York. I will still buy new records that fit with that sound. So like ASAP Ferg's Plain Jane has a 12. Cardi's Up has a 12. The Bobby Shmurda EP has a EP 12, right? Pop Smoke's first has a 12. All of those things. So when I'm playing Rick Ross Hustlin' and Jay-Z Paris and Knock If You Buck or whatever, it doesn't sound out of place to also play Plain Jane and Bobby Shmurda and Pop, like all of those things. They work within that little small part of my set.
Gotcha.
Same way I have the LMA record, the Boot Up, which works when you're playing like a 85 BPM R&B set. So we will always throw in new records just enough so it doesn't just sound like an old people throwback.
Newish.
Exactly.
And I'll always try some new stuff too in the
Right.
and like we know what works for the most part, but I will try a new record here and there, and every once in a while I'm like, oh, this I can actually get away with this at peak hours. Like my latest one, I've been doing Mr. Telephone Man at like the peak of the party,
Right.
And it goes crazy. It's like people really sing the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
and I think especially with us too, like I'll like actively avoid records that I know he's gonna play because it's like why step on that, and two, like we can set each other up. Like the longer you play with each other, like DJ with each other, you can like set up. All right, I know he's gonna go into this quick mix, and like from there I know where to take it. And like you said, we're constantly.
It's even to the point I won't buy records. Because there's some records I'm only buying to play at that party. So like the other day he bought the Waka Flocka album.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, it's got Grove
Urban
Street Party
Outfitters.
on it. It's got.
Does
and I
that
was like-
play?
It sounds
It
great.
sounds really
actually.
good.
Really?
So I was just like, I'm not gonna buy it because
I have.
I'm only ever going to buy it to play at that party.
That's a lot of hits on that album too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
let's do it.
That actually.
No hands.
Is
no hands on that. No hands is crazy.
The beauty is it's a double disc album, and No Hands is on one and Groceries on the other. So you can like play back to back if you wanted to. It's great. But
and it's the same way I'll play Bobby Smurder. I'll play and
I'll never play
just
those.
Doesn't get them because he knows I'm going to play them. So it's like we almost have like a certain part of the night dedicated to records from the last like 5 to 10 years, and it just makes it so like. Even the younger people who might not know the 90s and 2000s stuff, they hear enough of the new stuff that they do know that it still feels like a current experience, and it doesn't just feel like, oh, this is what New York sounded like back in the day.
When you guys first started your party, right? Yours is somewhat recent though, right?
Yeah.
It's like you guys started it this year.
Yeah, in June.
Moochie's looking up this record on Discogs.
I'm looking up Flockavelli right now.
I'm super distracted.
Just go on the Urban Outfitters website, bro. Just don't pay the inflated price, bro.
I'm sorry.
I'm buying that record. Like, yo, this is what I do in the club too. I swear to God, it's like I hear a song, I'm like, they got that press? And then like I look it up on Discogs,
like
put in my want list.
The Future EP, I remember being we were.
Oh yeah, we were saying
and Ben Blackin. Shout out to Ben Blackin, man. He's somebody else that's definitely like
crazy. We haven't said his name
when it comes to
He's
also wait. Side note, I wanna give credit. This whole thing is because of Karl, and for me because of R.O.A.D. Ben Blackin. Karl opened the door for all of us to be doing what we're doing at Record Room. We all owe everything to Karl. Like, he's a party rocker. He is true to this, not new to this. And none of us would be here without him. And I think Rel, Ben Blackin, shout out to him. That man was not DJing for a while. He gave it up for a minute. I mean, he can tell his own story. I would highly recommend getting him on.
Yeah, I would love to have Ben Blackin.
He is the man.
You should.
Yeah.
And he turned that place up. I think
Rec Room.
Like I give him all the credit of like making it relevant with like shit.
He was doing He was doing a Sunday party that was invite only.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just walk, and it was.
He had Cole in there.
And this is vinyl.
All vinyl.
Yeah. He had Cole in there, and he was just getting busy, whatever, and it made him fall back in love with DJing, and it really made us pay attention and get in there, and then we, if I may humbly say, like really just made it like a thing, because we did it every single fucking week.
Right.
Yeah.
But Rel shit was like really exclusive. You couldn't get in. It was invite only. But like, shout out to Ben Blackin.
Ben Blackin, what up?
He's really that guy, and he opened the door for a lot of us too. And initially Karl for everyone.
And we gotta shout out Aaron and Jeff and like the Record Room team. Like I think letting the place be that, like there's other listening bars that like that starts to happen, and then they're like, no dancing. Like we got to keep it low key. This is too
Turn
much.
the volume down.
They allowed it.
Listening bars that have told me don't play hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They let it be what it was. They saw something cool is happening. Said, all right,
like that feeling that you get when you walk in there is like a testament to like their vision of the design, the aesthetics of the space. Like
I mean, even the location.
The location, the layout is great.
It's crazy.
You know,
like nobody goes over there to like partying.
I will say, not only did they let it be what it was becoming, they actively like supported it becoming that.
Yeah.
You know, and they supported the kind of events that we we're creating.
Yeah, and we're in an era obviously of like things closing. Like it's rent is high for people just to find a place to live, but then for a business to operate, it's like astronomical, right? Like insurance, everything. So I think for me, at least speaking personally, one of the things that I like to try to do is like put people. If I'm in a spot, I'm like trying to figure out who are the 10, 15 people I can give them.
Yeah.
But I think that's also very important. There's so many parts of the equation that makes this work. One is the 7 to 1 a.m. time slot.
Yeah.
Another is the vinyl. Another is like a Tuesday and a Thursday. One is R&B bass. Another one is a little bit turn up with like hip hop. And then another one is that you guys are doing it weekly. That's so important. I feel like almost nowhere in the city is there a weekly party with the same DJs setting the exact same tone and controlling the crowd and the format and the focus.
Which is also old New York.
Right. That's another thing. I literally.
Yeah, I don't remember coming over here and seeing monthly parties. I just knew that Sunday was Lotus, Monday was APT. You know, like I knew,
and you knew that like
who was going to be there on that day.
Like what day Spinner was there, what day Rich was there, what day Bob
but even
was
the
there.
programming, like in Manhattan, there's maybe at like Tao Group nightclubs.
Yeah,
there's like probably 10 to 12 DJs in rotation, spread out through like 6 different clubs.
Yeah,
but they're not giving any one DJ like a set weekly night there.
No,
it's always changing, and so it's like I wouldn't even know who to send to where in Manhattan. But like the easiest thing I could say is like go to Rec Room, and go on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
MoMA and Ellie are really the only people in Manhattan.
And it's shout to MoMA and Ellie Escobar at LeBain on Wednesdays. But there is a challenge to doing a weekly party.
I do 2 of them.
100%.
Yeah, it's very intimidating. It's very easy for someone to be like, let's do a monthly.
Yeah.
We don't want to spread our crowd out every week. We want to just focus on one night. We know we're going to kill it on one night.
Especially as you get older, when people start coming out less, and
that time frame to me is perfect though. Like the 7 to 1 a.m.
Exactly that.
It's perfect. Like I would like literally, I could tell like a couple of my friends like, hey, let's triple date and get a table like on the early side.
Herbert Holler does the Freedom Party now from 6 till 10 on his Friday. And he gets 1,000 people through the door.
Right.
6 o'clock they start. You can walk in there at 7:30 when most people are eating their dinner, and it's like a 2 a.m. crazy party.
It's interesting,
and everybody's like 50.
Everyone's saying that nightclubs like, yo, no one's staying out till 4 a.m. So why aren't you changing the times?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
maybe that's too late.
Maybe it's too late on especially a weekday, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no more industry parties, and you guys have created not necessarily an industry party, but a weekday party that fucking kills it.
Yeah.
And it's so important, the weekly thing. I think that's really kind of a beautiful thing that y'all are doing, and it's not easy. I kind of want to talk about the weekly, how you guys approach that. Like,
it's not easy, but once it gets going, it's easier. Because I think the thing with the monthly, because I ran a monthly for damn near 20 years, and it's like, you do this thing and then there's this big push leading up to it, as opposed to with a weekly where it's just consistent. Like every day you're posting, every day you're like, shit, I gotta get my mail out done. It's Monday for this week. And like, so I think once you get in a rhythm of that, it almost ticks over a lot easier than a monthly does. Because a monthly, you really have to make sure that, and there's a lot riding on it. If that 1 month...
Or the weather is bad.
And it's a flop, it's like, oh shit, trying to get people back next month becomes even harder. Whereas when it's a weekly and it's that kind of constant rotation, it kind of looks after itself a little bit.
Tuesday was hard though. I will say, as far as getting like a Tuesday weekly started. And I had that same, I think we had that same experience where it was like, once it got going, it was the only thing to do on a Tuesday. Like if you're trying to go out
those are
on
like
a Tuesday,
tastemaker nights.
Right.
Tuesdays are like tastemaker. Thursdays like tastemaker nights in New York.
Yeah.
For the most part. So having it on those days, it's really a New York thing.
Yeah.
And you guys fill that space really well with having it there. I was wondering though, how you guys promote and you don't make it to where it gets watery? Because with social media and all these different promotion styles, how does it, somebody sees the picture or they see the IG, and then all of a sudden they come in there and they like, I want to get Bad Bunny. Yeah. Like how do you promote it to where, like, do you word it a certain way?
What's so funny is I think that our entire party has been owed to word of mouth.
Oh, okay.
Like, don't get me wrong, like we post on socials and stuff. Not as frequently maybe as other people or whatever, but I think that the entire party is owed to other people talking about it, whether it's to their friends in real life or we've gone viral on TikTok. I can't even tell you how many fucking times. And we don't even have a TikTok. We can't even be tagged. It's other people talking about it.
Well, you have, like, Moochie, your Instagram has literally almost zero footprint, which I fucking love. Like, I think that's a great place to be, but it's a very hard place to be. Like, most DJs are posting every recap video of every fucking set, of every viral moment, and you're the complete opposite. You're not posting anything. There's there's a mysteriousness to you.
There
you know?
is.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
But what is that? How do you post on just IG stories?
Yeah, I post on stories, and then like I usually keep up like a post up at a time that's like a dump or just like a picture of me or something. I change it out whenever I feel like it. But the parties that I'm doing that week or that like I'm promoting for like a week and a half, whatever it is, I'll have on my page and then I'll archive them and I'll take them down. So the only things that are up is just like what I'm doing. And you know, Svpply knows this because I've been battling internally with like, do I join the internet like everyone else? And I still haven't done it, and I'm still like sort of marinating on how I'm gonna do it. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is I've gotten to this point where like, I mean, I did 270 gigs so far this year. Like I'm one of the most booked and busy DJs, and I think it's from if I could pop my shit a little bit, just being good at the job, like the old school way. And like I don't need to just put it all out there on the internet for people to come see me.
Right.
And
well, it's like the right people know, right?
And all the followers that I've gotten are real people. You know, like I think so many people have gained so many followers, and you know, everyone is a part of this ecosystem. Like you get them based on the things you put on the internet. I get them through what I do in real life. And I've amassed like over 8,000 followers,
and that's invaluable, man.
Yeah,
I think that plays in. I think we're all a testament to that as well. If you are in this world of just kind of like mainstream, replaceable Instagram DJ, you don't have to be particularly good at what you do. You just have to. Brands need to look at you and feel like that's a safe bet. But if you're creating nights that are based around quality music, quality DJing, like real experience, like people that know what they're doing, then you can't, there isn't a replacement for skill.
And it's not quantifiable either.
No, like, I think all of us have people that follow us because we're genuinely good at what we do. You know, and that's not trying to be arrogant, but it's like, it counts for something. Like even with what you said about how do you get to a point where you know people don't come and expect Bad Bunny and you know, I know you're not trying to single out Bad Bunny or whatever, but like
I love Bad Bunny.
So I'll give you an example. I've never played a Bad Bunny record in my life, and I play parties where
not a single one.
No,
ever.
Why do you hate Bad Bunny?
I don't think I've ever. I don't.
Why do you hate Puerto Ricans?
Yeah. Tell us.
I'll play Frankie Cutlass and Big Pun all day.
Yo, you live in Bushwick. That's crazy.
No, but why do you hate? Why do you hate them?
I don't.
The last episode Snips was on. Why do you hate white people? Why do you hate Puerto Ricans?
I don't hate Bad Bunny, but I'm very much like, I don't really play much Afro beats. I don't hate African people. It's just
we're just going down the list now. You play K-pop? Do you play K-pop
all the time?
Yeah.
No, but
Mans loves new jeans.
My point is that I play, if I don't feel the music, I'm not going to play it as well as I believe that I can play it. So even when I get booked to do a party where they're expecting more top 40, I still play stuff that I'm not saying I love every song I play, but it's going to be attached to a wider kind of like sound that I enjoy. So I believe I'm a good enough DJ that if you're expecting Bad Bunny and Burna Boy and WizKid all night, I'm still going to be able to play a set to you where you're going to forget that you didn't even hear those records, because I'm going to play stuff that's adjacent to it that you're still going to like, that I feel like when I play it, I can do it in a way that does my skill justice.
Right.
And you're still going to walk away feeling like you didn't miss out on anything. Yeah. So I think taking that approach to DJing is like, I play Jeans in the city on Saturday night.
Right.
They don't want any hip hop in there. It's dance music all night. I still play stuff that I love. I'm not going to play Calvin Harris and Tiesto and all that stuff. I'll play Daft Punk, and I'll play New Order, and I'll play you know what I mean. I'll play David Bowie in there, and wherever I'm playing, I will find a way to curate the kind of stuff that I still like, that's going to work for that crowd, where you're not going to realize that you didn't hear the obvious stuff that you thought you were coming to hear. What? So taking that approach wherever I DJ is how I avoid things turning into like, oh, why aren't you playing this? Why aren't you playing that? You know?
You're making a living off of playing vinyl. and doing multiple vinyl parties, right?
Not solely. I still do a lot of digital parties as well.
But a lot of your gigs are vinyl based, right?
Absolutely.
And you're thriving. You're you're working 4 to 5 days a week,
despite what the internet would like to believe.
Well,
I'm doing all right.
Well, that's a conversation I wanted to have because on our last episode that you were featured on, there was a couple viral like Instagram reels and TikToks.
Yeah,
you had very like harsh opinions.
Yeah,
and then obviously for a lot of DJs or individuals, they would fear the backlash that they would get online, and they would think their career would be over. And it's kind of like interesting because your perspective is that stuff that happens online doesn't necessarily affect what you've built and what you're good at
within
in your craft.
reason.
Within reason, yes.
If I turn to the camera right now and started, I don't know, saying wildly offensive shit to every demographic of person I could think of, obviously I'm going to get,
Right.
But I think people blow having opinions out of the water, right? So like, you can have having a controversial opinion on music and nightclubs. It's like, it doesn't make you a terrible person. You can disagree with the person all you want. You can think their opinion's ill-informed. You can think it's pompous. You can think it's whatever you want, right? It's not a testament to somebody being a bad person.
It's not life
right?
or death.
Right, So I think people blow these issues up so much where it's like, he's going to lose his career. Listen, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. Some of the people that were angry at what I said, no, I've been DJing for nearly 30. My first paid gig was in 1996. That's the first paid gig I ever had, right? That's 29 years ago. I've been DJing longer than a lot of these people have been alive, right? And I've been outspoken. My entire career, my entire life, I've been outspoken. I've never said anything that is horribly offensive to anybody, right? I'm actually a very respectful person. I think I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a very liberal person, but I have opinions on things, and opinions make people angry. So even when we had the conversation where you were like, you sure you want me to post this? I don't care, because these people can't take anything from me. You didn't give me anything to take it from me.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, no, it doesn't affect my bookings. Yeah, that little scene of people that were angry that will never book me, I don't give a shit. If it wasn't obvious by my comments in the first place, I don't want to fucking play their parties. Like, I don't care. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, and again, like, I didn't get here overnight. Like, I'm in a city that I'm not from. I come from one of the hardest cities to make it in, and I came to the even harder city to make it in. And I make a full-time living doing this, and I made a full-time living in the city that I'm from. So for me, it's like, you think you can take that away from me because I said something you don't like on the internet?
Sound like a true New Yorker.
Also, side note, Snips is like a phenomenal house and disco DJ.
Right.
If someone ever booked him, oh my God, this man has like $100 12 inches that like he's had for 30 years. And that's not to say that expensive records are better. I'm saying like this man has been buying these records before they cost a lot of money because of X, Y, and Z, and he's a wizard. But this is one of the best DJs.
But this is thank you, Mooch. I really appreciate that. But this is the other thing, right? And I'm not trying to name drop people here, but when I say that, like, the people that really helped me get my foot in the door in New York, right? MoMA,
right?
Stretch Armstrong, these are people who, like, they're legends in their respective fields. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, in London, like, the people that I'll get messages from guys like Charlie Dark and Mr. Thing and Shorty Blitz. These are people who are, like, made in this world, right? So if these are the people that co-sign me and believe I should be where I am, some fucking idiot sitting in his house in his mother's basement who thinks like
Carhartt beanie?
Who the fuck do you think
or
you
someone
are?
who started spinning like 7 years ago, 5 years ago.
Who do you think you are? You can't take anything from me.
You started DJing 5 years ago.
And you also, and this is the other thing about the internet, right? And again, I think we spoke about this beforehand, like, yeah, there's definitely, you can get yourself cancelled on the internet. If you're a fucking idiot and you say some shit that is genuinely harmful to people, you absolutely should be held accountable for that, right?
Well, let me like kind of deep dive into what you're saying and where kind of where your perspective comes from.
Right.
Because you're not speaking on this New York house scene. out of nowhere, out of judgment?
No, and
this is a scene that you wanted to be a part of.
Well,
you know.
Well, let me be clear about that.
Right.
I was talking about a very specific corner of the New York house scene. I grew up listening to Masters of Work and Todd Terry and Kerry Chandler. I know Kerry's from Jersey. I grew up listening to that music. I love that music. I was very much specifically talking about a corner of that scene, which really isn't made up of New Yorkers, by the way. It's made up of transplants, both the DJs and the people that go to these events, right? So musically, when I first got to New York, I was like, all right, what's the new wave of house music? What's like, you know, what is the shit that I grew up on? How has it manifested itself now, right? And then when I got to learn that scene and see that scene, I was like, oh, this is not it. This is not the house music world that I consumed, you know, as a fan throughout the 80s and 90s and 2000s, you know. And I love, like, again, it's someone made a comment on that post, like, because I think I mentioned Louis Vega. Oh, he only mentioned one, like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to reel off the name of every single, like, US house producer that I love? Like I know this world.
But what is it that kind of turns you off?
Wildly pretentious. Wildly pretentious.
Because typically
covertly racist, for one.
Wow.
And again, don't tell me I hate white people. But it's covertly racist. Is geared towards white transplant kids. And there's a snobbery in the way they consume music. I worked in record stores in New York, right? I worked in A1. I worked in Human Head. I used to see these kids come in and buy records all the time. These are the kids who will buy the $100 house record on the wall, but have never listened to a Stevie Wonder or a Roy Ayers record, right? They're overcompensating for their lack of rooting in everything that created house music.
It's like a surface level coolness.
Right.
Yeah.
And
typically you would have wanted to be a part of this scene. Like, you know,
musically,
because you produce house.
Because I love that music.
Yeah.
I come from, like I have records that came out on Defected. I had, like, do you know what I mean? Like I make house music.
And ideally you would have wanted like to be a part of a scene like this.
Musically,
right.
Yes. Community based, no. That's not a community that I enjoy being a part of, because I don't think it's an inclusive community. I think it's a community that postures as being inclusive.
And from your perspective, they kind of weren't welcoming of you. They didn't want you to be a part of it.
I don't think they knew who I was.
Right.
I was, and I when I kind of dipped my toe in that scene, I knew before I even made an effort to try and, you know, get myself in there, that it wasn't a scene that I wanted to be a part of.
Right.
I would love to play. Look, I've definitely I'm more known in New York for playing R&B and hip hop. I've played with Spinner. I've played with who else have I played with in that scene? I've done Soul in the Horn events before. I know those guys, and I love and respect that side of the New York house scene. That soulful, that scene that respects that house is one branch of a bigger tree, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see a Spinner play, or you see Natasha play, or you see Kenny Dope play, they're not just playing house music. Same way, like, I could say I'm a hip hop DJ. I'm not only going to play hip hop records, but I'm still playing hip hop. You know, the original hip hop DJs, there were no hip hop records, but they were hip hop DJs. And I see house as the same. It's like, you can play a house music set without playing a house music record. And that's going to go over the heads of a lot of the people that go to these current house music events, right? And that's in itself is what made me kind of be like, nah, this is not. Because, you know, the house music world in London, especially, like, you know, we talked about DJs like Theo Parrish and Moody Man and Andres and Rick Willite and all of these kind of Detroit guys, is that scene in London was based around Plastic People. And you could go and see Theo Parrish play everything from Dennis Brown to Madlib to Detroit House to whatever in those parties, because the crowd that went there were a crowd that came from that background where they understood that.
Right.
And when I go and see these events in New York, it's not that.
Where it's like hip hop and house were cousins.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, from people of color, black people.
Yeah.
marginalized communities, everything. It was a melting pot of all the misfits and outcasts.
Right. And what's happened now is you've got young white kids who know that and have learned that on the internet. So they've kind of created this scene where they posture it being that, but it's not that at all. And then you've got some of the gatekeepers within that scene who aren't necessarily white kids.
Yeah.
But they know who their audience are.
And it's basically very performative. It's all performative.
Exactly that.
From the scene itself to the people to the representation of it all.
Exactly.
It's all very performative to you.
Yes.
And it's interesting because it's like, when I go to Record Room on a Tuesday or Thursday, it's all minorities. It's everybody.
I would say the vast majority of promoters and club owners that book me to DJ are black. Right. Or not white. I don't really get booked by white promoters or white DJs, and I very rarely play to white audiences. And that's not a flex or whatever. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I wanted some clarity after that viral moment.
Have you got a Carhartt beanie in there?
Yeah. That's the thing is the majority of all the comments of you ridiculing white guys in Carhartt beanies and you were wearing a beanie.
Do you know? And here's something. Here's something to really, really clarify that, right?
But you did appreciate.
I appreciate why that was funny, but also let me. But by that same logic, that you're a white guy in a beanie, how can you critique white guys in the beanies? Firstly, I'm not critiquing everybody that's in the club.
You're the closest to them.
I'm not saying. Thank you. I'm not saying white guys in beanies shouldn't go to those clubs, but it's like saying that same logic is like saying, "Oh, you're white. How can you critique white racist people?" It's like I'm probably the best person to critique white racist people as a white person, right? Like, do we not like you're a man? How can you critique misogyny? Well, I'm the person that should be doing that. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like that whole logic of like he doesn't even realize he's talking about himself. No, dickhead. Of course I fucking realize who I'm talking about.
So now we could talk about what's wrong with white people. Like we have the open door for that.
I've been waiting all day for this. I got a lot to get off my chest about this guy.
Well, firstly, Karl was here on time, and the three of us were late. We can start with that.
Breaking stereotypes here at the R.O.A.D podcast.
Exactly.
Svpply, you're a co-owner in a bar. Liar. Mm-hmm. And is that a vinyl bar as well, or what is that?
We have. So there's always a record playing. So it's I kind of just put my collection there, and then the bartenders have to like in the middle of making a drink. If the record stops, they got to go over and flip it over and switch it. And then I set up a booth, but we kind of got really busy before I could even do programming or start to work on it. And now it's like I haven't gotten around to it because it just feels like I'd be forcing music onto a crowd that's already there for a different reason.
Yeah.
So music's a part of it, and like we soundproofed it, and I got some nice vintage speakers, but I haven't done like booking programming type stuff.
So it's very much like a Japanese whiskey bar where the bartenders are controlling the music.
Yeah, in that way, it's a wine bar.
It's a wine bar
with cocktails.
I have way too many trust issues to let bartenders just handle my.
Yo, he's got like $50 LPs.
I had to give up so much. I have $100 LPs in there.
Sheesh.
I had to relinquish a lot of control, and also I just started swiping the company card for records at a certain point, and I was like, okay, this'll fire. I mean, they're for the bar, you know.
Yeah. How when did you open the bar?
This was about a year ago.
Okay.
Yo, you guys should go there for dinner.
It's the food.
You should come through.
It's so good.
Phenomenal. Like
Liar, right?
Liar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dope.
Yeah. It's right by Public Records.
Before we end this podcast, I appreciate y'all coming through. Karl, I know you're on Lot Radio, right?
Yeah.
And you have a monthly show.
Yep.
Voyager FM, right? And you're on there once a month.
Yes, once a month.
And then I was we were talking earlier about it. But you're kind of like a different kind of show that's on Lot Radio, right?
Yeah, I think the Lot Radio, for folks who aren't familiar with that, I think it's hitting its 10th anniversary. And I think the primary focus, I think if you watch the station on a given day, is like primarily like dance music, electronic music. And it runs the gamut of every type of electronic music, and like I think geared toward the underground specifically too. But there are
terrestrial radio.
It's online. It's fully online. Gotcha. Yeah, it's online, nonprofit, and it airs 24/7. But they have like DJs live, I think, from 10 a.m. to midnight every day. And so it's a really incredible undertaking. The fact that they've been able to do that for this long. But I think I'm one of a few shows that plays like stuff that isn't mostly dance music. And it's been really fun. It's been a really challenging experience too. Like, cause every month I'm like thinking about what I'm gonna play that's different than the last month, that still feels like something that's authentic to me. And it's like putting music together, not necessarily in a sequence every time. Sometimes I've done that before where I've like planned like what I'm gonna play start to finish, but for the most part I'm picking out like a selection of songs that I feel like represent what I wanna share with people on a given month. And I think, but it's kind of like made me rethink a lot about content and about like DJ mixes and stuff. I know there's been a lot of debate about that in particular, about like live mixes versus like curated mixtapes. And I, you know, especially in doing the show for the past year, I feel like the mixes that I personally like to listen to the most are the ones that just showcase somebody's taste. And like, you know, in the same way, I think there's a lot of, you know, similarities between stand-up comedy and DJing. That's, you know, the common thing. And in the same way that you might hear a comedian work on a set for 6-7 months, if you see them every week at like your given comedy club, if you heard a recording of that 6 months, you know, it kind of loses the luster of it a little bit. And I really enjoy making the mixes every month and doing it live too. So sometimes I'll bring records out. Sometimes I'll just play with Serato, which is kind of funny because, you know, sometimes there's like a weird like connotation with the live top DJs versus, you know, the debates
of course,
that go on and on. The other point I wanted to make about the lot before I lose it, hold on.
Lot Radio.
Yeah, Lot Radio. What was I gonna say?
Being able to play different genres.
Yeah, being able to play different genres, and I think about like notoriety, right? I think obviously it's a huge platform in the terms of like the following around it, but like I think for me also I kind of went into it with the expectation that it wasn't really going to change much for my career. It was more just like generally speaking something I really wanted to do to try to do radio. Like I had like a show that I was doing at High Note. It's like a small like. They're a vinyl bar. It's like a small cocktail bar in the East Village. But like I had like life and health stuff going on that I had to stop doing it. And then I ended up doing a couple of guest sets on the lot. And I honestly don't know what the criteria is. Like I'll be straight up. But like I did a few guest sets and then they put me on. And like it hasn't like moved mountains for me in any way. But honestly, it's been like one of my most fun experiences of DJing this year. Is like being able to do something with like no expectation other than just whatever I want to play. Yeah. Without having to worry about a crowd or people engaging in the chat. And I've tried to like use it as a means of like sharing a little bit more about myself on social media. I'm like terrible at it. And so it's kind of been, also doing our party every week has been like
I was going to say, all right, fine, whatever. No, I don't care.
I'm terrible. but it's like doing our party every week has been a forcing mechanism for me to send an email every week, for me to like post to social media doing the show every month, like, cause you have to let people know what you're doing. Right. And so it's been like a big year of growth because of these things. That
you've been doing this full time as a DJ.
Yeah.
It's like not that long.
Yeah.
Right?
So I started DJing in 2009 when I was in college, and like I was like going into my junior year, and I had been like kind of messing around at home before that for a couple years.
Vinyl?
No, I started with my laptop, actually just my laptop and virtual DJ, and then I got a controller. Like one of my, he's like a mentor of mine, like one of my older friends, fraternity brothers. Like he has like a mobile DJ business in Pennsylvania. Cedric, shout out to Cedric, and so he really put me on as far as like this is how like the business side of this works. I've been doing this since like '91. Since he was in high school, I think he started doing it, or like before even. So that was like kind of like my learning experience. And then I want to say a year later, I bought turntables and learned very quickly I wasn't really doing anything. And so that was like my real learning is like in my dorm room with my turntables, kind of learning how to mix that way. And I was buying records, but I wasn't doing vinyl sets up until post-pandemic. So I had like a lot of like Rare Groove and like James Brown 45s and things like that at home. And then you know, once I started, I quickly realized, like I've been doing parties and I know that I need a little bit more to do like a room, like record room. So that's where I started to get like my 12-inch game up, like hip hop singles and R&B singles and stuff like that.
What's your relationship with records? Like all of you guys, what is your relationship with records?
Because unhealthy. Very
right. That's the same answer for all of us.
You guys have to, play records like vinyl every week. Yeah. And is it more of an attachment now that you pass a record store, or is it like?
What do you mean?
Are you asking more like what is like when you play records? You have to have a relationship with the records and a reason for buying them. Like almost like because every record that you buy, there's a story behind it.
There's a story.
Right?
There's definitely a story.
There's like an intention, like
So the thing I like so much about records is honestly, I just think it's like, I know this sounds kind of silly, but I just think it's just kind of romantic.
Right.
Like, I love finding a record and be like, I've been looking for this. Like, I'm so excited to find it. And then, like, just having it in its special place and, like, the sleeves and just, like, the feeling of it, like, the tangibleness.
They have their own personality. You know what I mean?
It's just, like I love them so much. And I know we all have our own personal relationship with these records, and like to the point where it's like, I know that this record, I've had it for a while and it's expensive, and there's this little click at this certain point, or there's a skip at this point, and I know that because it's my record. And on it, if I can sort of draw like a sort of this is a bit sort of poetic, but I really do feel this way about records, is they are like sort of humans, right? In that, like, they have a shelf life, and they can stop playing at some point through damage, through overplaying them, through not being careful enough with them, and they can stop like working at some point, right? And that's like us, you know, like us as humans, we only have a finite amount of time on this earth. We're going to die also. And like the thing about music, owning it physically, is you cherish it just like you should cherish life, because it's not here forever. It can get lost, it can get hurt,
and its wear is specific to the way you've worn it.
Yeah,
you know, it's like a pair of jeans or, you know, sneakers or whatever. It's like that wear on that record, that bit. Like I know, you know, you guys probably don't do this as much, but you would have definitely done it when you buy your two specific records that you practice with and you're cutting up, and they have that bacon sizzle
in the beginning
of the kick. Yeah. Like, I know that my record sounds fucked up on the first half a bar of Nas's Like, because I used to practice beat juggling with that record. That's my wear. Like, I did that to that record.
Or like, even just like you spilled water on a sleeve and now it's sticky, and you're like, I remember that night. Like,
hey, yo, Karl, Snips, you know, Svpply, Moochie, thank you for coming through.
Record Room.
What you guys are doing at Record Room is amazing, and I urge everyone to check out Moochie and Svpply. They Tuesdays, Suede Tuesdays at Record Room, and please check out Snips and Karl on Thursdays, early check-in. It's amazing. I can't co-sign or celebrate you guys enough. And you know, definitely really come back on the podcast. Let's do this again with Nyla and Ben Blacken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You got to get Rel on here.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Nah, he's doing.
Shout out to him. Yo, Snips was bigging up Ben Blacken since I
y'all see what he's doing on Instagram,
you know?
right now?
Yeah,
he's killing.
Who he's bringing out, what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's doing shit for New York. He's doing shit for Queens.
That's why he deserves his own episode.
He deserves his own episode.
he brought Kenny Burke out to do Rising to the Top at his party,
and then brought Wayne Wonder out with a whole band, and he did the whole shit for free and got Adidas to sponsor it for his people. And like, this shit is like, he's throwing parties like where he spins for 6 hours, and like, it's just, I think what he's doing is singular. No one else is doing what that guy's doing.
100%.
Snips, please facilitate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you need to get Rel on here.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. That's my guy, man.
Vinyl forever, y'all. Vinyl forever.
Yeah.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.